My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time. I'm a person who will spike the conversation, who will get politics rolling and stimulate new questions and new answers to our current political dilemma facing our nation. I believe I have a keen understanding of the economy and how to improve where we're at relative to other nations around the world. I believe that our goal at America's Third Party was to create a very strong platform in which would propel the American people forward with new opportunities and a new possibility of creating a better nation, a cleaner environment, and less war. I believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to America's Third Party, home of the future fairness doctrine and a new America. I'm David Sponheim. I want everyone to know that I'm upset about the censorship that's been going on against conservatives on YouTube and liberals. Both you have been mistreated by YouTube. You need some sort of an ombudsman that can protect your rights and keep you from getting your accounts kicked off. Some of you had like 50,000 subscribers and YouTube just cut you like no big deal. The CEO is not accountable for what she's doing. Now, I will make her accountable, and the fairness doctrine will be bringing back. It'll take all of a signature. And once we bring it back, all of these networks will have to work in the public interest. Websites, newsstands won't be able to have screens that require you to pay $1. If they're not serving the public interest, they can't be a news agency on the internet. We have a utility here, and the utility is our news. We have all these different venues like broadcasters like Vaughn and iBlog. There's no ombudsman to correct what they do when they censor me, or anyone for that matter. We get no response from callbacks or disputations from YouTube. So YouTube is getting away with heinous crimes in that regard, but we have no fairness doctrine in place right now. It was suspended many years ago. So we can bring it back. We can get fairness back in media. We can get these people restored to a good sense of at least accountability. Meanwhile, Trump is starting to use that famous thing that he's done so well so far, diversions, to keep us from actually knowing more about his Russian connections. He's using a big diversion now, and that diversion is he wants to attack Iran. We knew this was coming, and many Democrats are extremely upset. Even Fox's Tucker Carlson is parting with all the people that support Trump on this one, and he's saying it's not a good idea. He breaks with colleagues and criticizes Trump's strike on Iranian general. This is a very provocative move against a man who we know has been involved in events around the world as a key part of Iran's militia and capability of defending themselves. Pence wrongfully stated that this man was in some way connected to 9/11, and it's been debunked by a couple of experts that this man had nothing to do with 9/11 and the attack on our country. So again, the Republicans are using the same argument they started Iraq with, claiming that this guy was a 9/11 guy, and we have to go after Iran now. So starting a war with Iran is virtual suicide for all nations involved, because we're literally going to be embroiled in another long-standing 20-year war, like we've been with Iraq and Afghanistan. The Republicans never learn. They go back and do the same thing over and over again. That's the problem with ignorance. It never wakes up from the state of ignorance. Now, because our country is being dominated by a man who cheated during the election, and we know for a fact from 448 pages of the Mueller report, and now that the unredacted portion is available, many people are wondering, yeah, they literally, they pulled one over on us, Dave. They cheated in the election. The Russian hacking of the election has been going on, and they continue to hack, and Trump continues to give them a free pass. It's crazy. And Trump never made any recordings of the 13 or 14 hours of conversations he's had with Putin. Never. So what's going on with that? I mean, if I were under investigation for 3 years that I'd be colluding with Russia, I would have conversations recorded, and even a stenographer there making notes, and you'd be able to read my conversations in the New York Times. So there would be no question about your trust in me as your leader. But Trump, he wants to just get away with, no, there's nothing going on. It's all a Russian hoax. I have a good relationship, but it's not really a relationship. I do, and I do. He wants to pretend like he doesn't even have a relationship with Putin. When they're so close, they talk for nearly 14 hours. What could that conversation be? I mean, have you talked to 14 hours with somebody? Have you even talked to your mom for 14 hours of the past year, some of you? Hey, Mom, I'm doing fine. Thanks a lot. Donald Trump has talked nearly 14 hours with Vladimir Putin. That's serious. And we don't know what he said. How is that not a national security risk? Anyway. So, as the beat goes on, we're going to find out how we can proceed with any type of an action against Iran when we've got a president that's colluding with the guy that's going to support Iran against us. How does that work? If we were to attack Iran and Iran needed some more support, they'd get it from Russia. But Donald Trump has such a good relationship with Russia. How could we possibly do anything bad with Vladimir Putin? You see what we're entering? A place where our men get caught in the crossfire and die. That's what Donald Trump is setting up for. This is bad. He's sending 3,000 troops over to Baghdad right now, while he's got Vladimir Putin on his cell phone going, oh, don't play the sex tape, Vladimir. No, I'll do whatever you tell me. Where should I put the troops now? Oh, should I put them at the border? Okay. I mean, this is crazy. So, of course, you Republicans are going to impeach Donald Trump. Wake up. And Mitch McConnell, Moscow Mitch, is going to have to do just the same. He's going to have to admit he's been getting money from the Russians and oligarchs like Len Blavatnik, just like Lindsey Graham's going to have to tell the truth and how he's getting money from the Russians. Or we're going down a toilet where our men are in the crosshairs. And that's dangerous. So let's try to kick back and wonder how this anti-war rally can evolve when you've got a president that wants to divert our attention by starting a war. Yeah. Okay. Ridiculous. All those things are completely censored. Yeah, thank you. If you need to ever write something to me that isn't censored, you have to write me an email. See? You say, David, I have a message. Censored from Mark. Okay. Everything's censored. Hello? No, we don't do things like that. We don't watch dogs for people. Sorry. One American News Network. Let's see what they have to say. Our men in blue and green. We'll get to that a little later. Okay, Howie? Your obsession with Larry Sinclair is absurd. White House expects Iranian response in coming weeks. Yeah, well, Donald Trump is threatening to attack 52 targets. That's the number one news item at Google. Yep, look at that. Trump warns, if he hits any Americans, if Iran hits any Americans or American assets, we have targeted 52 Iranian sites for immediate attack. So he wants to start a war in Iran, just like they did in Iraq. Yeah, just enlarge the war and send our men off to die. 6,000 families are still suffering the loss of their loved one who died in Afghanistan or Iraq, mostly Iraq. Yeah. Kind of unfortunate, isn't it? It's sad that our country continues to engage in this nightmare. Whew. Yeah, so we've got people that are concerned. We have top quality people working the field. It's not as though we can't do this. It's, do we want to do this? That's the big question. Hello, Victory for Cake. Okay. Dave, isn't it funny that we call the general that we called a terrorist? His troops fought ISIS. We funded them. Yes, Dave John Rothschild, it's true. Iran did fund some operations against ISIS. It's true. You're right. And it is ironic that we called this general who did try to fight ISIS forces at one point a terrorist. You know that a lot of the policies that we're engaged in right now are coming out of the CIA war room. So they've got all kinds of contingencies to change our mind, flip our beliefs, make us think certain things. And do you have any Greg Poupon by any chance? Thank you. We know that this is a standard operating procedure from many of the people that are operating in the dark shadows of the cabal government that lives within the government of ours. Many people don't know this, but our government has an internal government. They call it the third rail. And it operates as a collaboration between the Pentagon and the State Department and the President. And it works internally. We are not even aware of it. If they need money, if they need more weapons sales, not only here, but in other parts of the world, the people that run our government start wars. And right now, Iran's a country is suffering from some serious weapon. They need a growth in their economy. So maybe Iran is possibly the person perpetrating this. Let's just keep that on the table. They do need more money in their economy, and a war would generate more credit for them. And that would help them borrow money from Russia, which could loan them the money through the Russian Zionist network. So the Russian Zionists could fund the war through that. And then we might look for collateral help from Zionists here in the United States that want to fund the war and then build more defense weapons like Raytheon just got a contract for nearly $1 billion, $860 million contract with Raytheon for unmanned aerial vehicles. So there's a lot of money involved in this. War is really all about the money. So I think we have to look at that realistically as being the cause of this problem. Yeah, money, the economy needing a little boost. We're all kind of sitting on the edge of the expanded credit. We've done as much as we could to expand our credit over the years. But look what Clinton did. Right around the same time he was impeached. Impeachment vote in the House delayed as Clinton launches Iraq airstrike, citing military need to move swiftly. I never had sexual relations with that woman, but we're going to attack the enemy. And if that enemy is Iraq, we're going to do it. You know, so a lot of people are wondering, is this scene 3 or possibly Act 2, Scene 3? What part of this picture is really, anything different than what Clinton was doing? Did we win that war? No, we're still in it. If you were president right now, would you do? I would insist that Iran open up a dialogue with us. Yeah. Let's try to avert a crisis. That's what I would do. Yeah, because it does seem like Donald Trump jumped the gun and just decided to take out a A provocation, it can only be justified if that general was doing something in Iraq that would be potentially building a plan, attacking us. If we had justification for it, and we knew for a fact this guy was moving on an action that would have affected our government and maybe the Green Zone, or what's left of it. There's an Iranian ice cream store in the Green Zone. That's where they get all their best ice cream. It's not like Iran isn't parked there. They work with the Shiite majority in Iraq. This is part of their deal, but was he there for other purposes? Was he there as a military agent, or was he on vacation? I mean, I need to know these things, and I'd get back to Iran and talk to them about that we knew for a fact he was planning on something, and they would deny it, but at least we'd start the discussion, because right now, with Donald Trump threatening and saber rattling, he's just starting another conflict that could lead to a crisis. Well, you all know that if you are biblically aligned, there are biblical references to an apocalypse that occurs in the Middle East. And that would be the beginning of an air war, a conventional air war, starting with bombing raids, and then a response by Iran, testing their weaponry, and then an all-out upscale of the weaponry of Iran with the help of Russia or possibly China. Increasing conventional war to the point of a tactical nuclear war and then a full-scale nuclear war. And that's what Donald Trump just started to head down that road with. He started the move toward that maneuver. Big mistake. Ron Paul says it's a big mistake, and I agree with Ron Paul on this. There's no reason to start the conflict, and we just did. Without justification, and you can't say a squib that went off at our embassy is justification, or a group of people protesting a series of airstrikes is justification. Exactly, Tom. It's all the distraction issue. Yeah, that's what this is all about. It's about diversion. Keeping our mind on something else, not the impeachment. But they're going to be voting on the impeachment rather soon, and then there's going to be another set of articles brought by the House to the Senate, because they're not done yet. Donald Trump is clearly working with Russia at all levels. Now, we're in a very vulnerable position because our policy toward this region is confused because of Donald's close relationship with Vladimir Putin. Nobody understands why he'd be embracing Putin when it's obvious to our State Department that Putin is working on all kinds of secret channels to affect our elections. Yes, Ron Paul's warning us about Iran too, and he warned us about Iraq. And I respect Ron Paul's view on this, on his international policy. I respect his view on this because we don't need to light that fire under that ultimate apocalyptic experience between all nations. But Trump just did. So we can probably put the fire out with diplomacy. It's not over yet, but it's going to take a regime change within the United States to do that. So that's why we kind of need a third party, ironically, because the Democrats don't have the mind to fix this problem. They've been sucking up to the same elitists that want war like the Republicans. These people have embedded themselves in our country. They have become the financiers of re-election. Most of them have very powerful roots in our government. They could be part of the third rail for all I know. I don't know much more about the third rail other than to say it lives in the shadows. And the people that are operating, making decisions like war, do so as a long-term objective. They want to use the power they have over our country to push for control of other countries. Now, the people that we're describing would be the Illuminati, if you will. And they have the power, and the decision to dominate all countries is really their primary goal. They also have a secondary motivation, and that is to depopulate the world. So war accomplishes both. They can accomplish taking over a country like Iraq or Iran or any country or Syria one way or another. But they can also depopulate by starting wars. Both sides kill each other off, therefore their end game is to depopulate. That's the big problem. Hey, let's talk about something positive for America, like a $500 a month baseline income. All U.S. adults who are currently not getting Social Security and disability could qualify for this. It would lower the stigma of the EBT program and make more money available for people, even people with money could use it to bank. It would help our banking system. You might want to invest in the stock market with money. It would be a great way to fuel our economy. And it would also be a great way to create a multiplier effect. There's the side effect is the multiplier effect, which gives us the ability to actually grow economically. So for every $500 you get, you actually you put it in the economy. You're going to be either hiring somebody to do some work, yard work. They take the money out, they buy some food for their family, and the people that sell that food make money. That $500 stretches way down roads, as long as it's going into the U.S. economy. We're not giving it to some other country. So it's a really good plan, I think, and I'm the guy, the originator of the Universal Basic Income Plan in America. Andrew Yang copied my idea and doubled it. It's highly unlikely he'll get the nomination, so I'm not really worried about him getting it. But if he does, I will match his $1,000 a month and up it to $1,111 a month. That's how serious I am. I don't want to because it's going to take away from our national defense. In the process, we'll have to cut back our funding to Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and other companies. But hey, I'd rather not do that, but we're willing to do that if we have to meet Andrew Yang's offer and beat it. Meatloaf says Greta Thunberg has been brainwashed into thinking climate change is real. Thank you, Meatloaf. Let's take a look at this.
President Trump has been vocal about you more than once, saying you have anger management issues. You nearly came face to face with him in New York.
Yeah.
What would you have said if you'd had the chance?
Honestly, I don't think I would have said anything, because he's obviously not listening to scientists and experts. Why would he listen to me? So I probably wouldn't have said anything, wouldn't have wasted my time.
Okay, well, she might want to waste her time talking about the real cause of climate change, which apparently none of these people want to talk about. The real cause of climate change is chemtrails. Yeah. It's weather modification. It's been going on for a long time, rapidly under our nose, in our nose. And I'm suggesting that we end this chemtrail activity that's been going on for a long time in America. I'm more than willing to make that move. But she won't even talk about it. There's so many people involved in chemtrails. Look at this. This is a weather modification summit. This is a photograph of a weather modification summit where people sitting around talking and drinking, having hors d'oeuvres, talking about weather modification. Yeah, they are willing to poison the atmosphere for their goal. And then they don't want you to know that they're causing this problem. They want you to think it's because you have flatulence, that we're having weather changes. They're able to modify the weather, okay? So it's not some unusual reaction to carbon in our atmosphere. They're literally trying to screw with our weather. It's not a big, unimaginable thing. I mean, we've got a conference here with brochures out here you can look at. This is what they're doing. So I say no chemtrails, and I say that I think Meatloaf is on something there. But we need to talk about, raise awareness for chemtrail activity that's been going on under our nose, in our nose. You had total chemi whiteout in Orange County, California. Wow, scissor fight. And it's terrible. You guys are getting blasts of this barium and aluminum, which dehydrates your atmosphere in California. We get the silver iodide up here, and that pulls all the rain up here. I've had 4 or 5 days of rain. We just got 8 inches of rain up here. And you're like completely dry as a bone again after that one big rain that happened recently. Well, that's abuse when a 46-year-old grandfather gave a 4-year-old a package full of Kool-Aid in 1 cup. That's crazy. That could hurt the kid. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I mean, where do you hear about this story, Jimmix? Yeah, we had some bad news earlier. I just want to reiterate that the waters across the coastline in California, Oregon, Washington, they're contaminated with radiation from Fukushima. And our government doesn't even care to even check the radiation levels officially off the coast of California, Oregon, and Washington. But in the past year, in 2019, 70 large whales like this were beached due to starvation. So the intertidal zones are impacted from Fukushima, like we've been saying. These animals can't get enough food to eat because migrant populations of anchovies and whatnot are ending up in British Columbia. Recently, they had a massive amount of anchovies in British Columbia, so much so as beyond belief. We had a live leak of that. Hang on. We had a live leak of anchovies in the water off of British Columbia, so they're all missing from California, Oregon, and the anchovies are splitting because it's radiated, the water is. So they went up to British Columbia. Look at this. A giant school of anchovies. Would have been the food for this amazing whale. And 70 of them died last year because they don't have anything to eat. They're all running, the anchovies are running up to British Columbia. Look at this. So there's a massive anchovy population, I mean, beyond belief, way more than the seagulls can eat, up in British Columbia. And the waters in California, Oregon, and Washington are pretty much so bad that whales are dying in the ocean. We've had 70 whales beach on the Pacific coast in 2019. 70. All because they are starving to death. And the anchovies have all gone up to the northern latitudes, and they're just, it's like you can't even hold them back. So the whales all ran out of food. So this is the effect of a variety of things. I think it's Fukushima. But without any testing by our government, they're literally dropping the ball on this. They could care less about the human population. So our government's just very complicit in lack of interest. And I think we, the people, are going to have to build our government back up and get it back on accountable level. Our government doesn't even monitor its own mistakes. The Democrats continue to reissue bad funding policies every year, and they keep taxing us over and over again. The bow will break, and that's when we build this third party. So, thank you. We're bringing the third party logo here. I was looking for it earlier. There it is. Okay, everybody, I'll be back later. Thanks for coming in. This is Sarah. She's going to give you her take on the things that are going on in this world.
I'll be on a happy note. I think I'll try.
Yeah, and she does have a positive view on things. I'm a little bit more skittish and concerned about how Trump is starting a war with Iran. So, thank you. You look cute with your hat on.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
I like that. It's a cute hat.
I'm glad you like my hats.
Her friend made that in one day.
I know,
I'm still amazed at that.
I'm still going to tell my friend that
on
Monday.
I'm still amazed at that.
David talked the entire break. David kept saying, I can't believe your friend made that in one day. I can't believe your friend made that in one day. Which is pretty cool. It's the 5th of January where you are, Cameron Scott Mac. Good evening. How dare you? Yeah, it is. Well, where I'm at, it's still the 4th of January. You don't like my hat? What is wrong with you? How dare you? I just think something's wrong with you, that's all. Feel sad for you. So sad. Poor YouTube watchers. David never opens up the YouTube chat. I look like a South American gorilla leader with a hat. You think it's cute that it looked like a South American gorilla leader? What? I don't know. Gorilla leader with a hat. You think it's That's hilarious. Sam, what the Americans want about Iran? David did not knit my hat. My friend said she did not knit it. She crocheted it. Not gonna happen, Max Armstrong. Only in your dreams. You can continue to have your fantasies all you want. Can't stop you from doing that. Thanks, Oval. I'm sorry that you're tired, Oval. You have your suspicions because David always accuses everyone of being a Rothschild. You think David is a Rothschild? Pretty funny. Glitter is your favorite color? Yeah, it does seem like it's glittery. And that's only, but it's not glittery. It just seems like that because of the green color that clashes with the green screen background. Naoki or something. No, it's the way it's made. Here, I'm going to turn it. It's supposed to be made that way because it has this like cute little curl. I almost think it would be better like that, but I wonder if I'm like wearing it wrong. And then it goes up in the back. What? Only because nice people make things for the people at Salvation Army. West Coasters are cool, but you sometimes wonder the style always moves east. I thought it started in New York and moves. I just have to get it over my beret in the back. Anyway. You're right, it's not proportional. It purposely has a tilt to it. I know. Not only that, but they train people too. Salvation Army is a very good organization. Yeah, I think it's best like that. I might even go further over like that. So then it looks like, you know, like wearing a baseball cap sideways a little bit. Something like that. It does look like it's like angled or something. What? Well, I dislike both of what you guys are saying. It's a very thoughtful and a nice gift. I have a nice friend. I agree with you. How dare you? You prefer homemade gifts? I like it too. I like homemade gifts. I like gifts from the heart. Even though I don't really make anything homemade, but, well, I did make some pumpkin pie that I'm still eating up. I have no idea how they do that. No, I don't. Trump Tardo. I don't know how to make any signs. I'm sorry, Daryl, that you don't know a lot of nice people. I'm glad that you know me. Hello, Caravan Eretes Mort. Whatever your name is. One time I got like homemade bath salts. Those were really cool. My sister made me a facial scrub that I still have. My sister's in, she would appreciate this hat because she crochets. And she's really into like earthy things. My sister's way more earthy than I am. I like bath salts. Well, you put in not bath salts like the drug. Bath salt like Epsom salt with scents in it. Yeah, normal people like me use, when I say bath salts, I'm like talking about using it to take a bath. I need to sew the words yo-yo on my hat. Like a real bath with water. And then sometimes I put in like bubbles as well, like a bubble bath. I know, Oval, but I'm trying to just be nice to everyone, Oval, too. Because people are people. And everybody needs love and friends and companions. Even me. This hat makes me feel like I could break dance. But my shoulders don't feel it. Let me see. That's like breakdancing with my head, maybe? I don't know. I can't. No, I cannot watch your dog. I'm sorry. I have a cat. I do suggest that you look into, there's a cool organization about like people that are deployed to watch their dogs. Maybe those people could watch your dogs. Are you being deployed or something, Slammer of the Hogs? I would like honey flavor to lip balm. David got me this for Christmas a couple years ago. I'm still using it. This is my least... I'm not a big fan of this flavor, but I use it anyway. It's pink grapefruit. I'm not a fan of pink grapefruit. No, I don't, Frank. I think you should seek help. You're going on a rodeo tour. You're a rodeo clown, and you can't take your dog with you? Well, you know, I just don't think you should judge other people, Frank. Unless they ask you to judge them. Like if you're a therapist and someone comes to you for professional help. I was just born this way. I was born with the jawline that I have. I know grapefruit are healthy. I'm not a fan though. Well, he doesn't conform to your traditional views of society. I do understand that. David is a nonconformist and an iconoclast. I would definitely say both of those things. I would agree with both of those things. I definitely do the robot dance sometimes. How so? I think more people in this room that watch David are more likely to do that than David himself. David has views that not everyone agrees with, and I don't agree with all his views either, but I don't think that's, I think you're mischaracterizing him. I used to have daymares about that. I do definitely have that, Daryl. I think both David and I do have that. Nope. No, they did not. The case is still open as far as I know. Like a cold case kind of thing. David thinks it was the local police involved, and I think it was a child in Philadelphia or a young person in Philadelphia who was arrested about 2 weeks later. That is cute. I like the Pizza Hut. Most people have gingerbread houses. This person has a Pizza Hut. I'll show it to you. Maybe. There we go. I have it. I just have to bring this one down. There you go. Oh, goodness. Sarah. There's his Pizza Hut. I like the little, like, tomato entryway, the little mushrooms in the front, you know, a little piece of ham or something for a little window. And then the roof. I don't know what are these supposed to be? Bay leaves or something? I don't know. Super cute though. Oh, basil? They seem a little big for basil. But okay, I'll go with that. I'll go with that idea. All right, Oval, I agree with you. I'm sorry to be grammatically correct, but when you say of, you need to have written have. Hello, Hawkster! 1968. I like your little emoticons that make a picture of a person. That's cute. This is why I watch the Twitch chat room, so I can actually respond to people. Well, you might be right, Milrose, but I still do eat pepperoni. But I avoid a lot of other things that have nitrates in them. Like, I don't like Polish sausage or bologna or ham. Actually, no. It would be shouldn't have happened, or shouldn't have had. Yeah, a lot of people make that mistake. They put of instead of have. It's just, I mean, it's just the way our tongues devolve to the schwa sound, and we devolved to that. Thank you. All right, good. Does David still have the fish? Asking for a friend. I do have fish that I need to eat in my freezer that you reminded me about. That I really need to go get some. I need to get some batter for it. Like, I want to get beer bread batter, something like that. That would be good. I don't know what other fish you're talking about, room service. You want me to do a cooking show? I don't think I would be very good at a cooking show. Thank you, Trump Tardo. Oh, got it. Yes. Actually, David went and fed the fish today. The goldfish. Well, maybe not. David calls them koi and I call them goldfish. But yes, he still does have the goldfish and he has the fish pond. Yep. We did originally buy the fish because of, well, he bought other fish. Yes, he bought other fish, catfish, and we were going to raise catfish after, and like, we put some in our pond in 1999, going into 2000, just in case the world ended, we could have a fish supply. But the catfish do not like cold weather, so that did not last. People do say ah a lot, or or so, or a lot when they talk. The reason they do that is because usually you're having a conversation with another individual and you want to make sure that that other person doesn't interject on your conversation when you're talking. And so you put in those I don't know what they're called, like your own interjections, but you put those in so that you can gather your thoughts. However, when you're giving a speech, you should realize that nobody's there to interrupt you. So you have to psychologically practice so that you don't say and so, totally. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I know. I don't like that. You hate it when you hear, you know what I'm saying, for the entire conversation. Try this. The next time you hear someone saying that, you can say, hey, I want you to know that you have a tendency to say, you know what I'm saying, a lot. And I want to encourage you to not say that by telling you that I will wait for you to complete your thought and you can tell me when you're finished. And so instead of interrupting you, I will say, are you finished? And then that will help them with that. Big Twitter, I think the same thing about you that you're claiming about me. Yeah, sometimes radio talk show hosts do that. And I think with radio talk show hosts doing it, it's because they feel that they can't have any empty airtime. And sometimes when they're talking, they do, obviously everybody has to process what you're saying before you say it. So they feel like it's a way to fill in that empty airtime. It's really kind of ridiculous though. I know lots of people say a lot. And it's not how, somebody said they didn't like when someone will say, I take offense to that, and it kind of shuts down the conversation. My friend was saying that about somebody, but I do take offense to Big Twitter claiming that it's how certain people talk. I think that's offensive. Not to say we can't have that conversation, but I do think that's offensive. I understand. Yeah, well, we do use the microwave because it's an efficient means of cooking. I know some people believe that using the microwave is very dangerous. It is ironic that David thinks 5G network is so dangerous, and anyway, still uses the microwave. Yes, I agree. Radio talk show hosts are probably multitasking when they say it. I'm just saying. Oh, I have heard trout like cold weather. I haven't tried raising trout though. Sarah, big Twitter rates. Well, I'll just show it on the screen. I'll have to scroll. Delete that one. I disagree. What I was talking about was not African American vernacular. When people say like, so, it's not African American vernacular. He claims that if I say I don't like people who say certain things that apply to African American vernacular, then I'm a racist. I completely disagree. You say that you know what I'm saying is African American vernacular. However, the people that I've heard say, you know what I'm saying, are not African American at all. In fact, some of the people that say it the most are my family members say that to me, you know what I'm saying? And they use it as I said, a way to make sure that there isn't an interjection into what their conversation is. I take offense to you thinking that you calling me a racist. I think that's ridiculous. I think it is important to talk about race, but I think that, and I often think that calling someone as a racist is a way to shut down conversations of race when I think it's important to have conversations of race and how different people that have different races have been subjugated for a long time. Oval thinks that user is just here to troll me, which could be the case. I think it's really a universal trait that people have to put in a interjection, I guess is the best word to say it. No, I'm sorry, I cannot apologize for being born a white girl. I can agree with you that I can agree with people who think that white girls have benefited the most from affirmative action. But I can't apologize for, you say, can I apologize for being a product of white privilege? No, I'm sorry, I cannot. Okay, Medveral says most people climb down, says there's a difference between race and ethnicity, and there's only one human race. And I agree with that. There is one human race. You can judge me however you want to judge me. And I can believe what I want to believe about myself. And I'm going to accept the fact that you want to judge me. How dare you says many people confuse racism and bigotry. What is the difference? Maybe I've confused those. Huffington Post in 2016 has an article on that. If a person is intolerant of other ideas, races, or religions, we call that person a bigot. The intolerance expressed by that bigot is called bigotry. Bigotry can mean any form of intolerance or prejudice. When the word is used alone, it's most often understood to be racial bigotry. Racism, stating or acting upon something with the belief that your race is superior to another's. The discrimination, hatred, or contempt is based solely upon race. So I definitely am not racist or a bigot. I don't know because I'm not privy to that information, Joe Pesci, but it could be. Bigotry is a philosophical belief that's based on stone written definition and cannot be debated or altered. Wow.
All right, I put your dinner in defrost, basically in the microwave, so it's really nice and warm here when you're ready. So, thank you for giving me some time here. And I'm glad you've been addressing bigotry, and I think we have to really get people on the right track, at least. Yeah, I was operating the microwave in the background.
Yeah, this was cute. Some people have gingerbread houses. I have a Pizza Hut.
That's cute. Maybe everyone else wants to see it.
I did show it to them before.
Oh, you
but-
did? Okay, good. Thank you. Desktop 2.
Right.
There it is, the Pizza Hut. That is so cute.
I know, it's cute, huh?
That is wonderful. And it even has some bay leaves on top or something.
Yeah, I was like, there's some bay leaves. Somebody said they thought they were basil. I was like, I don't think they're basil. I think they're bay leaves.
Yeah, they look like, and you can't eat bay leaves. They're poisonous. Don't ever eat a bay leaf. Yeah. You're always supposed to pull them out of your sauce. So I stopped using bay leaves back in the 1980s, I think. It was like, why bother, you know?
Hello, Big Outlaw. All right, thank you for your
You're welcome.
cooking.
Yeah, well, there's something in the microwave for you for dinner.
Oh, you're so nice.
Yeah,
I'm
I
going to
just-
go have that and watch your shows. And stuff.
Yeah, enjoy.
I
I
should
put some
do
butter on
some
the
other-
potato already, so.
We
Yeah.
should do some things since I have 2 days left to get back to the swing of things, but I'm probably just going to stay on vacation.
Stay on vacation for a few more days, please. Yeah, Sarah has this desire to constantly be productive, and we're productive every night when we do a show. That's productive. We at least talk to people, but she wants to constantly be doing something, and you got to take a vacation. She's really a hard worker. Yeah. Well, last night we had big winds, so it's amazing we even had a show. Today we had to move a tree, and it was just everything. My cold frame that I had trying to grow lettuce collapsed on me, or it tumbled on me. So I decided to move it to a back area where I have a biodome. Yeah. It wasn't working anyways, so the cold frame, it's hard to grow things in Western Washington or anywhere up in the Northwest during this time of year. You can't possibly, thank you for the hair. Yeah, I know. It's kind of cool. It's like tendrils of love. Hair, beautiful hair. Thank you. And how is your experience with life rape going, KY Poopy? Are you getting past the life rape that you've experienced? Have you worked through your problems? Poor KY Poopy was life raped when he was younger, and now he's a victim of life rape. And being a permanent victim of life rape, he has to do something, so. Yeah. Can't seem to get it to pop out. You been on vacation from life rape? Let me see if I can go this way with it. Hey. I'm debonair now. Let's see if I can do this in real time. It's not making the migration. Yeah, you're right. Well, I should have shampooed today. It's a little too much mousse. There we go. It's almost acceptable, but this is a problem. I feel like I'm kind of like that guy Boris Johnson, you know. His hair is atrocious. Yeah, I'm going to try to Simonize, I think, this into one position. Yeah, it's not working out. There we go. Wax on. That almost works, you know? It's like, okay, I'm almost there. Yeah, it's still kind of weird over here. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I taking up the whole show on my hair? Oh, excuse me. I didn't. I was getting some criticism from. Don't ever say that. Shave it off. This is my beautiful hair. Why would I want to shave it off? What the hell, man? Well, my forehead. I'm trying to shrink my forehead by wearing bangs, and you know when they bring your forehead up like that, it's like I have an extremely large head as it is, so. My brain pan is like half getting bigger than Barack Obama's, so. It's the new style, high and tight, yes. Okay. I wish. I can't afford an expensive hairpiece. This is my hair, man. Hey, what do the Americans want about Iran? Good point, Sam. They want Donald Trump to come up with something different to talk about besides Russia. It's all a Russian hoax. Oh, we're attacking Iran because they're bad. He had to come up with a new thing to talk about. They're very bad. We've got very bad people over there. Very bad. We're going to take care of it. We're very strong. We're very, very proud. He talks like a 4-year-old. We're very proud. We're very strong. We're going to make sure that the bad people are going to be taken out. 52 targets if they attack one American. 52 targets. He started it by attacking this general who... Was he on vacation in Iraq? Does anyone know? David, there are men at your age who look like they have a foot in the grave. Your passion in living by your rules keeps you young. Yeah. Well, if it wasn't for fruit enzyme spray from the Fountain of Youth, I don't know what I'd do. I have to travel across country for, thousands of miles to get this product. I get gallons of the Fountain of Youth water. It's great. It's really helping me a lot. We have to do a New York accent. I'll try to do that, but Donald doesn't have a very much of a New York accent. All I'm saying is that he wants to start a war, okay? Didn't we see this coming? Get real on Iran. We have to understand how we got here to argue over what should happen next. Okay, let's take a look at this article. You spritz colloidal silver over your genitals? That sounds pretty weird. Trump is a showman, really? Is this right? Is this true? Wow, what a showman. Well, what does that make me, an entertainer? We have to understand how we got here to argue over what should happen next. The killing of Soleimani in Baghdad on Friday generated a predictable and predictably partisan flurry of praise and condemnation. But the context in which the decision to kill him was made is being lost in the angry rhetoric. We have to consider the context, however, both to evaluate the decision itself and much more importantly to understand where we are now. Okay, here's the context. We're screwed. The U.S. and Iran have been locked in an escalation cycle throughout the 2019 era. Iran reacted to the American withdrawal from the nuclear deal initially signed by President Obama in 2015 by reducing its compliance with the deal's restrictions on its nuclear programs. Tehran's leaders apparently hoped to persuade Europeans to break with the U.S., defy reimposed American sanctions, and resume full trade with and investment in Iran. The Europeans disappointed them. It did kind of cause an economic problem. The Islamic Republic then started using force to coerce American allies to abandon the U.S. approach, attacking and seizing ships in the Persian Gulf in the summer. I remember that. The U.S. responded by imposing additional sanctions and by working with allies to provide military escorts for vulnerable vessels. That's right. We gave all kinds of vulnerable vessels military assistance out there. Yeah. Unwilling to fight naval battles to seize ships, Iran instead shot down an American drone operating in international waters in the Persian Gulf. President Trump canceled the military response to the shoot-down because the Iranians had not killed anyone, just blown up an unmanned system. This isn't the first time they did that. They actually grounded one of our unmanned aerial vehicles that Lockheed Martin had created in 2010, and the government didn't even acknowledge it happened. Iran raised the stakes again in September by conducting a drone and missile attack against the Abqaiq oil facility in Saudi Arabia, briefly taking much of the Saudi oil supply off the market. That's pretty serious. I will agree that that's enough to be pissed off about. The U.S. responded with additional sanctions and deployed anti-missile systems and other forces to Saudi Arabia and the Persian Gulf, but launched no military response. So the background of this regional confrontation, Iran was also moving to gain control of Iraq by causing its Iraqi proxies to infiltrate and manipulate the Iraqi government, security forces, and political system. And it looked for most of the summer as if this effort might well succeed, but the Iranian proxies overplayed their hand. Massive protests began in Iraq early in October against the many failures of the Iraqi government to provide for their own people. And those protests rapidly focused on Iraqis' anger at Iran's excessive influence and interference in their country. The Iranians responded by pushing and helping the Iraqi government to crack down on the protests with violence and censorship, which some in Iraqi government were unfortunately all too willing to do, like the paid protesters outside the embassy. I went off script there. I don't know. Was that embassy attack real? I mean, it seemed like a joke. The squib went off in the background. I remember hearing about the squib, right? We saw that thing blow up. Nobody got hurt. And then a bunch of people out there in really nice clothes. Iraqis that are well dressed, you know, like they'd been to the Macy's or something. Yeah, it was some sort of a squib, not a squid. That's an animal or a creature in the ocean. A squib is a thing that they use in movies to make blasts go off. I learned that from Scissor Fight. Thank you, Scissor Fight, for giving me the clarity to see that. Yeah, and Trump is playing with his unmanned aerial vehicles, and it's all beautiful. It's all so beautiful. Yeah, so we're doing it. We're making it happen today. Drones that carry bombs, that's right. They've got a few of them. Northrop has been developing these things for some time. They had a plan to create a drone that would deliver a bomb or a payload. And Northrop developed this particular unit that I'll show you in a second, or a few seconds. Yeah, the Grumman UCAS X-47B. It cost $1 billion, but this is just one of the many drones we have that could do this. Oh, another failure. I know. I'm working on the hair thing. We're going to take a look at this drone right now, and we'll be right back. Thank you very much. I know China is very concerned, and so is Japan. I realize that. Thank you. Here's the X-47B, unmanned.
Set up for the base point. Approach to position. Copy that, going past.
All right, so that was the X-47B stealth drone capable of doing all kinds of damage. We don't know if that was used in this particular bombing raid, but why not guess, you know? Drones are expendable, and that's why escalating this to a kill from where we were at earlier with Iran just striking out an unmanned vehicle in our skies it's kind of like a provocation by Trump. It really is. The world shadow government, the supreme leader, that man does not want anyone to know who it is. I don't know who it is. There's 13 families at the top of the pyramid, the financial pyramid, if you so to speak. The people that run the global financial operation are, well, they don't even want to be known. They're much more wealthy than Donald Trump. You run the world? Well, thank you for coming in. Thanks for showing your face. Yeah, it's not many people realize that we have to open a dialogue with even the Illuminati in getting a lot of things done. The question is, do you want your president to be a suck-up to the Illuminati? The answer is no. Donald Trump is. He's a guy who openly sought their money for re-election and willingly did whatever they wanted him to do. Now, I want everyone to have a seat at the table. I don't want anyone to be left out. Even if you've been trying to run the world through your financial control, we want your input, of course. But we can't let you run the world anymore. I know, you don't have a dialogue. You just buy and put in power who you want, who will do what you say. I realize that. But you're running into a problem. And that problem is you lacked a little bit of creativity along the way. And because of that, you have left yourself vulnerable to anyone, even an opportunist like myself, who obviously is trying to build a third party in lieu of your control over the media and the entire global financial world that we live in. And I've done it with no money hardly at all. I mean, less than $1,000 for 11 years of broadcasting, reaching millions of people around the world that you can't seem to turn that off because you can't shut down the rebroadcasters, the UHF, the VHF. You can't stop the shortwave radio broadcasters from rebroadcasting my telecast or podcast. So you're faced with a real conundrum. Who is this David Sponheim, and how can we at least get our efforts accomplished in lieu of him? So, yeah. So I see your dilemma. But this was predictable, and it didn't take a lot to realize that this was your fate. You just needed a few people way ahead of me, and you didn't have them. Because I planned this out over 30 years ago. You sell our shows on VHS? Wow, that's... is your name Lot Lizard? We've got people gang stalking us by that name. You're offering $125 million to stop challenge. Well, the offer was $300 million last time. Why are you dropping your offer? No, I can't be bought. I'm here on an ideological purpose, a quest, if you will. I am primarily trying to carve a pathway through the middle of the political spectrum, whereas the elitists are primarily trying to divide the nation by funding the left versus the right, paying off George Soros to pay MoveOn.org or the Democrats to turn commie, and they want the Republicans to turn racist. And they've done that too by funding Donald Trump. So they're funding this division in our country, and here I am, a nice guy trying to do the right thing. And yeah, I did a blackface video impersonating Barack Obama. I don't have a price. That's my point. I'm not buyable. No, I am not buyable. And I've proven that to you. People have offered me $300 million to stop doing this. I won't stop doing what I'm doing because I have to do this. I'm filling a space that no one else seems to want to fill, and I'm more than willing to do it. Well, anybody who believes that anybody's got a price is obviously under the control of the mob. I am not. So, I don't like report to Guido down there, I don't make my contact people over in Staten Island, I'm talking about. I'm going to hang out to people that bada bing, they know what I'm talking about. But I'm not that way. I'm not a mobber. Now, Donald Trump is a mob guy. He's obviously been working with the Gambino family and countless other mobsters around the world. And they got him as their crony, their hand-picked crony. That's Donald Trump. That's why he's Putin's puppet, because Putin works for the mob too. We know that. So what I am is an American who's representative of the American people, who believes that the American people need a person at the table. That's all I am. You've been poor so long, he wouldn't know anything the difference, yeah. It's not about money with me. I'm totally non-materialistic. I'm one step away from Gandhi. If you know anything about me, you know that I literally was influenced by the same book that Gandhi was influenced by, Henry David Thoreau, on behalf of civil disobedience on Walden Pond. And as a reader of that book, it has changed my view of life to the point where I believe that we do have a different path here, a sustainable path. All of us do. And it's all attainable. Every one of us can be sustainably living within their means. You were offered $7,500 for a DDoS attack. You flatly refused. Well, Scissorfight doesn't believe any money has gone into Mark's hands. He believes solely that Mark is just a troll guy who likes to censor me. And I certainly understand his perspective, but I've got information from people like you, Insane Canadian, claiming you've been offered $7,500 to DDoS me. Who am I supposed to believe? Well, we have to make a solid decision one way or another. But do we? Really? I mean, either whether I'm censored or not, I still have to go forward. It doesn't really matter if I am or not. No, I live in a house that I own. Yeah. Help me be. All you have to do is own your own property. Say you have a castle in the Netherlands, and you love it there, and you do. And your name is Arthur, and you happen to wonder why everything is so easy financially for you. Well, the best way to be non-materialistic is live at that castle and don't have a staff of 14 people working for you 24/7. Yeah. Have a staff of only a couple, say a nurse and a cook. You know, you can downsize even if you are a multi-billionaire. Your boat makes $3,000 a month steady? Really? You actually lease your boat out for people, they give you $3,000 a month? That's a pretty good deal. I'm not for Medicare for all, Ben-Hur. We have Medicaid for all right now, so we don't need Medicare for all. All right? Medicaid will handle your funds. I've been around people with Medicaid surgeries that they've had incredible results from. Yeah, you can. It's amazing when you go to a Medicaid facility. It's a teaching hospital, and sometimes you get the best doctors working on you. Believe it or not. I know they've got the reverse thing going out there that Medicaid doesn't get you a good deal. No, it really gets you top-notch doctors. You just have to sit there in the middle of a bay with 14 doctors going, is he going to remove that scapula or leave it in there? And they watch people doing things on bodies that are... So Medicaid will actually get you good quality care. It just has to be made more affordable. So what I'm proposing is a low-cost healthcare system with mobile medical units. People who can get into a possible immediate care situation in their local neighborhood. So they don't have to go very far. They can go to a corner that's listed online where a mobile medical unit will be parked with a tent over it in a large parking lot, and 5 people will be out there helping you. Yes, my hair is supposed to look like this. This is how it was designed. That's correct. It's kind of a conservative 70s look, but I'll take that over anything right now. Thank you. I could wear an authentic Native American Indian headdress if you'd prefer. Here's an ancestor of mine in the Algonquin Indian tribe, and I don't even know who he is. He could be my uncle for all I know. But unlike Elizabeth Warren, I was not Native American enough to qualify for funding. But it would have been great if I'd gotten college money. Even though I was number 1 in my high school class and high SATs, I still didn't get funding to go to college, making me a victim of white persecution. You know? Are you with me? So I'm a little pissed that this woman who claimed to be Cherokee Indian gets a free ride, whereas I had to eat it, and I've obviously got Algonquin Indian history in me. Okay, pal? Yeah. You're kind of freaky, huh? Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say, yeah. So I'm very much inclined to get rid of affirmative action across the country. Absolutely. My hair is in good shape right now. I had a little problem with it, but I took a wet comb and I gave it a little styling, and I think it's in fair shape. Thank you. I don't man a Facebook page with my hair on it. But if there is a hair page dedicated to me every night, I can't control it. It only adds more buzz. Now, there are people in China right now, as you know, who are suffering from organ harvesting, where you reach down and you realize, oh my gosh, they're cutting your kidneys out while you're sitting there. And you have to stop at toilets that are so disrespectful as to say, please urinate with precision and elegance. There are tragedies going on in China. So, like Trump, I'm a little concerned about the fact that China hasn't really corrected their ways of human rights abuses. So I would like Trump to add human rights as an issue with the trade talks that he's going to negotiate soon, hopefully. Health insurance companies made $24 billion in profits in 2018. I'm not going to shut down health insurance companies, but I could see coming up with a public option, Ben-Hur. Yeah, a public option would take the money. It would at least offer people who don't want a premium healthcare policy an alternative. I don't want to wipe out the private healthcare sector. That's where the Democrats come in. I don't want to do that. I actually see private healthcare system as a competitive opportunity to improve quality of service. That to me is more important in my mind than just taking down an entire private healthcare insurance company system. Obama tried to do that and he failed. And it's absurd to even try. This MMU, it may look unimportant, but it could be the basis for your healthcare immediate needs in your area. Now, I can build 200 of these at $5 million apiece for a total of $1 billion. And I can sell Congress on that concept, I'm pretty sure. Heck, Congress was almost ready to give Donald Trump $1 billion for my idea of a fence, a 1,000-mile fence. But then they were even willing to give $24 billion at one point if Donald Trump had allowed the Dreamers to stay in the country and without any hassles. But he wouldn't do it. They're still here, but he didn't even scout a plan to do what he needed to do. So Trump lost $24 billion, but I'm only asking for $1 billion here. And for the fence, we're only asking for a 1,000-mile fence, $1 billion as well. So these aren't big ticket items. We've got a pretty simple plan. Yeah, so let's check it out. Voila. Mobile medical units for an amazingly low price of $5 million apiece. 200 of them spread out across the country. In like 10 would be in Los Angeles to start, 10 in New York, 10 in Chicago, 10 in Miami. Baltimore would have 3 or 4 to start with. Cincinnati would have 3 or 4 to start with. Flagstaff would have 2. Phoenix would have 3. Are you getting my drift? Tucson would have maybe 1. Yeah, and the MMU will help homeless people, and Trump wouldn't fund something like this. Well, this will abide by the Supreme Court ruling that we have to take care of health care for everybody. This meets the standard, and it doesn't rip us off, because a visit to one of these is only going to cost $30, and if you don't want to pay, you just have a thumbprint and sign an affidavit saying you don't have any money. We cover the $30 cost out of Medicaid. We reduce the cost of health care and reduce the outflow of Medicaid at the same time. Win-win for everybody. Problem solved. Meanwhile, the private health insurance company can continue to offer premium packages at $15,000 a year. We'll offer a package at $60 a month that'll service. You'll get help at any public hospital or nonprofit hospital connected to our network. Anyone who doesn't want to have tax-free status would unplug from our network and would become a private healthcare insurance. We'd give them that option through the process too. They'd have to have a 1-year lead time, but they could opt out, kind of like United Methodist, United Insurance opted out of Obamacare. So we'd give them the option. So private health insurance companies and private providers who don't want to participate in a plan like this, even opting in would be taking our public option, and we would carry the burden of the insurance company. The collective burden of the private insurance companies we can't handle, though. And this has been tried with automobile insurance in Alberta, Canada. They've done an amazing job of getting people auto insurance with about a 17% annual savings. Scaling the cost to $60 a month is bare bonesing it. But we can get, if we got 20 million people, we'd have $12 billion to service your needs for the first year. 20 million people out of 70 to 100 million people that don't even want to participate in healthcare. We'd automatically have that if we just converted everybody on Medicaid to that plan. In fact, if we offered the $500 a month plan, we could pull that money, that monthly money out of that $500 a month, so you'd get a deducted amount per month, and you'd still get health insurance with that plan. It's a great way of moving money around and making opportunity for people where it doesn't normally exist. Now, we may have to up the rate to $100 a month if we do that. But either way, it's still going to be way less than what, $700 a month you're paying with your health care provider right now. You can still do that, though. You can still have a private insurance plan with this program. It wouldn't affect it. Okay. Yeah, Trump is going to be in the Senate, probably going to be looking at witnesses, despite Mitch McConnell's inability to want witnesses to interview. I'm more than confident that the Republicans will have to do something of a trial because it would be unconstitutional if they didn't. I think you are having a big problem with each other over their iVlog. I think many people are they're not sure if they have Americans in the room or Asians, or we don't know who goes into that room at iVlog. We can't tell you who is in there, whether it's somebody from another country or a U.S. citizen. We are still in the process of finalizing an impeachment. The fact is, Donald Trump has enough supporters in the Senate to probably avoid impeachment completely. But being impeached doesn't mean removal from office until the Senate closes the deal. It's like they're the judge, the final jury. And they will make that decision soon. There are a lot of senators that are leaving support, not really inclined to support Trump now. The more activity he engages in war with Iran, the more he seems like a complete idiot who's diverting their attention, and the more likely he will be impeached. So really the question I have is, how fast will the war ramp up, and how fast will the impeachment take place? So it seems like there's a sliding scale. The war ramping up, the impeachment taking place could coincide at the same time, and that would almost give Donald Trump the edge by being a commander-in-chief of a country at war. Oh, it could be, though. Everyone knows this war has been avoided for 50 years, but Donald Trump did something we haven't done to the Iranians in a long time. I mean, Jimmy Carter wouldn't do what Donald Trump just did.
I think that I sent 9 helicopters over to Tehran and tried to save over 50 hostages, but it didn't work out. Well, the dust got in the impellers, and many people died, unfortunately.
You've been unbanned. So we did lose 8 or 9 helicopters during the raid on Tehran, which never amounted to anything but our deaths of our soldiers. So what Trump did was a calculated move. They knew exactly where the guy was. They knew they could take him out, and they just did it on Iraqi soil without necessarily choreographing it with the Iraqi leadership. But that's exactly how it's been going on for a long time. We've been pretty much the de facto parent company controlling the Iraq company. It's being run like a corporation, really. As much as I'd like to say that Iraq has their own autonomous government, they do pretty much answer to the United States on a lot of issues still. And that's fairly true about many countries that have been taken over by our country, unfortunately. Yeah, I wish it was on better terms. I do agree that we should not have signed the treaty with Iran, and that Iran made a big mistake by not meeting and complying with the IAEA's timetable on inspection of their nuclear weapon. I also believe that it was a mistake for Barack Obama to offer Iran a nuclear weapon. And if this is our big move to kind of stop them from developing nuclear weapons, militarily speaking, this could escalate. All right? If this really is about them not abiding by the treaty. Now, I know Meng, the CFO for Huawei, telecommunications giant in China. I never wanted her arrested, nor did I want us to impose economic sanctions to the tune that we did. We essentially have destabilized the Iranian economy, and now are moving on a military level, which only enhances their economy, ironically, because then they can turn to Russia for more support and to get the leverage they need to go after us. That puts us and Russia at odds, with our president kid directions now. Yeah, so it's very strange that we have the potential to put our troops in harm's way, our 3,000 troops. We're beginning to realize more and more that he's been making decisions for Putin. Hey, you're not really very nice. Dave, do you remember the sewers in Los Angeles that were on fire last year? Okay, yeah, I do. Are you talking about the methane? Living in the sewers of Colombia. That looks like a really bizarre picture tonight. 25-minute show, thanks. Nice. Who doesn't want to hear this?
Exacto, como no alcanzaba a salir rápido, entonces le echaron gasolina y allá y todos los pelados estaban abajo.
Okay. 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 Your wife doesn't want to live like that? Okay, I don't want... We're going to find out what living in the sewers of Colombia is, okay? Okay. Say hello to my little friend. Okay, we've got a lot of things to talk about. As you know, Jeffrey Epstein was found illegally building up his big St. James Island before he was arrested. And then when they faked his death and got him out of there, he could be there right now at Big St. James Island. They found out right before he was arrested, he was building a compound at his Big St. James Island. Not Little St. James, but Big St. James. And this happened right before he was hauled in, and then they think he died, but he obviously didn't. Despite him having more than 30 victims in 2008, federal prosecutors quietly dropped charges against Epstein under the direction of Alexander Costa. And it goes on to talk about Epstein was allowed to plead guilty to a state charge, spent 13 months in jail. Acosta later said that he did a light sentence because he was told that Jeffrey Epstein was in intelligence. Now, it goes on to read, Epstein, meanwhile, reportedly is building a compound on the 165-acre island of Great St. James, which he purchased in 2016 for $18 million. Now, he was living on Little St. James. That's where he had his little, altar and whatever the heck that was, dungeon. So now there's a good likelihood that he's on Big St. James Island right now. So I'm just very, very suspicious that our government hasn't bothered investigating this guy. And if Acosta's right that he was in intelligence, then there's a good chance that Epstein got away from that location scot-free. Because the only person who identified that body that didn't even look like him was his brother, Mark. Mark has all of his money, $748 million. So anything can happen with that money. He could be shelling it back to little Big St. James Island for all we know. Wow, so this is weird. New photos emerge of 3 Iranians who held a secret meeting with John Kerry yesterday in Paris. This is very important information and very timely. Thanks, please, Mr. David. Yeah, this is very strange. 3 Iranians meeting with John Kerry. Now, John Kerry does not have the approval to meet with the Iranians. It's a violation of the Logan Act, in case that he didn't know. But he's got a lot invested in this. Remember, the treaty that Obama brokered with John Kerry there was strangely very, very connected to financial interests by John Kerry and Susan Rice, of all people. Ambassador Susan Rice has a significant amount of investments in Iran. So does John Kerry, we think. This requires an investigation. If I were Donald Trump and William Barr, I'd move on an investigation right now to see how complicit John Kerry is in funding the Iranians and financing the Iranians. It looks very suspicious that they gave $155 billion to Iran under Barack Obama in cash and credit. So Pompeo made sure the Kazakhstan border is closed by Russia so the Iranian government can't escape. Okay, well, good luck with that. I'll take a look at that. I mean, if Iran and if Russia is working with us to contain Iran, this is a very interesting twist. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that I'm even reading this. What is behind Pompeo's visit to Kazakhstan? Well, maybe he's just there to work out a deal with Putin. Maybe he's doing a side conversation, because Donald Trump's had, 14 hours of conversations with Putin? Yeah, there's got to be some sort of a connection there. Last night we recorded a video, and it was him saying that he just lies. He lies all the time. That's what they do. We didn't record it. I thought I did, but I have this instead.
can't talk. What do I do? I 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 can't.
You get to the point where you can hear it over and over again. It's just terrible. After the 50th time, it starts to get funny. Yeah, they pulled that video, and here I tried to make a copy of it. That's not right. Oh, I know where it is. It's in my 4K download pile. Dave, I will qualify for mental compensation if I watch your show. Are you? No. Did your psychiatrist recommend watching the show, Joe? Is that how you're able to get that money back? You're a sly devil, aren't you? You run Windows XP? That's a shame. Yeah, you're going to probably have a huge malware attack. Oh, just warning you. Yeah, XP, really? And you trust the internet? Iran already attacked after the tweet, thus it's game on. Oh, okay. Game on. Now, Iran is going to respond with an aggressive move, and now Donald Trump is going to strike 52 targets. Here we go. An escalation toward World War III, thanks to Donald Trump and his impeachment trial, which you Republicans refuse to acknowledge. You're running Windows 95? I'm so sorry for you. Now that's just sad, see? I have a 4K downloader, and I'm going to play that right now. Here we go.
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
I can't talk. What do I do? I can't talk. What do I do?
So we got liars and people who have aneurysms as our leaders. Damaged cars and swarms of U.S. choppers. First footage of rocket attacks on Iraqi facilities housing Americans emerge. Wow. Whew. Numerous helicopters in the air above Baghdad. Hey, we don't have to drag people out of their racial anonymity. People here have a racial anonymity, okay? We're not requiring people to tell you where he's living. Come on, how dare you? Yeah, and why are you asking for their nationality? Are you racist? Yeah, you have no right to know their nationality. People can be wherever they are. We've got people from China, in India, in Pakistan. And we have people all around the world watching us. So why are you criticizing people based on their racial or background or their place of birth? The guy was like Elizabeth Warren, really? Oh, that's too bad. David, we are finally confronting the Iranian bully. It needs to be done. Hey, you go ahead. Use Donald Trump's... You're so stupid, you'll just go ahead and... Not only do you not believe that Donald Trump is working for Russia, but you're so treasonous that you're willing to throw our military in front of the bus just to prove a point that somehow Iran needs to have their ass kicked. So you want to start another endless war. Gee, how's the war in Iraq and Afghanistan going? 20 years now, huh? You're making big progress. Yeah, why not start another war in Iran? Sure, why not? We're doing so well. Are you people mentally retarded? Oh, that's right, you're Trump-tarticans, I forgot. Yeah, that explains it. Well, the Democrats are no better. Look what Clinton did, 1990, whatever, 98. Impeachment vote in House delayed as Clinton launches Iraq air strike, citing military need to move swiftly.
I never had sexual relations with that woman. I just stuck a cigar in her vagina and had her suck on my pee-pee.
So, what's going on with your life? We don't have a videotape of Donald Trump in the Oval Office right now with Carolyn Sunshine going, "Oh, Carolyn, don't do that to me, please. No, you know how much I'm ticklish."
I'm not Jimmy Carter. I don't know why you keep saying that.
I just don't think it's time to kick their ass. In case you didn't know, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to do it right. That means you're going to have to listen to my method in how we're going to invade and take over Iran. Okay? You ready? I'm not going to tell you my strategy. I'm not going to tip my hand to the enemy like Donald Trump would. No. There's definitely a way, and there's a lot of different ways that you could move on this, but I'm not going to tip my hand and give the enemy any info. Sorry. I'm not loose lips, sink ships Donald Trump. You couldn't get me to talk about my approach to the situation. Trump is not doing anything. He's just coming up with an elaborate diversion to keep our mind off of the real fact that he works for Russia. Okay? Now, if he got approval to do this because Russia wants higher oil prices, I totally understand. Yeah, higher oil prices will help Russia. So Donald Trump might have gotten a call saying from Mr. Putin, "You go ahead and do a little damage to Iran so that we can raise the price of oil. Russia needs more big profit from oil. We are heavily invested in oil. Mr. Trump, do as I say, not as I do." So yeah, if starting a war with Iran will raise the price of oil, it's a win for Russia. Let's add that to our war room insignias. These are all the things Donald Trump is doing for Russia, helping Russia in every way. Yeah, I think we need to pull this one up. Hurt Ukraine, not giving them assistance, leading to deaths along the border with the war that they're fighting with Russia. That definitely helped. He pushed Iran away, but I'm just going to go ahead and say start war with Iran. And right after that, I'm going to have to squeeze this in. Yeah, we're going to have to move the China trade war over because it's getting a little bit busy here. I'm going to have to make a little room here. Because what this means is that Donald Trump is trying to raise the price of fuel. An automatic response is a greater increase in the price of a barrel of oil. So you're going to see the price of fuel go up at the pumps now, thanks to Donald Trump.
Well, I didn't think he'd do that. I support Mr. Trump, but I didn't think he'd raise the price of gas on us. Yeah.
Raise price of oil. Big thing that Russia wants. Raising the price of oil. This Chinese trade war is getting pushed out of the position. I'm going to have to shrink hurting Ukraine a little bit. Destabilizing Venezuela, not a big deal really. I mean, so Russia gets a missile base, they can strike us within 5 seconds. No biggie there. Left Syria, an entire air base to Syria into the Russian control. And then started a war with Iran. Yeah. Raised price of oil and a Chinese trade war, which is hurting our businesses and our farmers. Okay, I think we're covered. And of course, he hasn't presented his IRS tax returns showing the Russian oligarch money he got all these decades. And he won't show you any recordings of his conversations with Putin. Okay, pretty much a slam dunk that Trump works for Russia here. Thank you. Now that's clear. That's my war room I'm working on. Convincing Republicans that Trump works for Russia. It's a tough haul, man, because they don't have a clue as to what's going on. All they know is that, it's all the Russian hoax. It's all fake news. It's a scam. Yeah. Hope you feel better, DT. I'm sorry, not feeling well. Get some nice mint tea and sit back and cuddle with your kitty cat. It is true he's helping Russia. It's true. Very true. The Democrats don't have a plan. That's the problem. And what Obama did was despicable with Iran, giving them a nuclear weapon. What a joke. So if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. That means, well, I can't tell you how we're going to do it. But if Trump's going to hit 52 targets tomorrow or the next week, it's going to have to be a real strike, targeted. They say that if Israel were to attack Iran, they would have to fly their jets 24/7 and refuel in the air and load up on new bombs almost for at least 2 weeks steady, just to even make a dent in Iranians' defenses. So good luck. Yeah. The problem with our country is we think this is Libya, and somehow the Ayatollah Khamenei is in no way ready for such a reaction, and the leader Rouhani is in no way ready for a reaction. Well, they've already planned for this contingency for years, decades. Has anyone been to President Rouhani's Twitter? He says that the U.S. has made a grave mistake. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani says the U.S. made a grave mistake by assassinating a top general, Qasem Soleimani. I'm trying to tell myself as a slave, no one bought. You're trying to sell yourself as a slave? Oh, that's so sad. Why don't you just do a work job thing at Workaway? That's like almost slavery. Yeah, you can travel anywhere in the world. People will have you live in their house to do all their work for them. It's human exploitation. You don't have to offer yourself up as a slave. They have they have an online package for that. You did, yeah. Banned? You were unbanned, yeah. Nobody buys me, Mad Dog, you know that. You can't buy me with a microphone and a light, which, very nice of you, but I never asked for those things. Thank you. Well, I would have sent it in to have it repaired. Luckily, it is not in any way damaged. But I was so deeply hurt by the entire event of having my ears blasted by a board that was barely functional that I held back on the entire thing. We do have the board ready to go on the mic. It will be activated eventually. But I'm in no big hurry. It might be the mic we use in the White House, so don't worry. Meta sent me a beautiful tie, and Sarah a book, Mr. Rogers' book. Yeah, it was a nice gift. I can't be bought. No. There's a stomach thing going around right now. Yeah, maybe you have it. I hope you don't, Fluffy. Yeah, whole body feels like an iceberg and the chills. Well, if it's any consolation, Sarah knows some people in New Mexico and Texas and areas in the South right now that are heavily hit with a stomach flu. You both have it? Wow, bummer. It's not E. coli, no. It's a stomach flu. It's pretty bad. It's hit the South and Southwest pretty bad. I've heard a lot of people are like laid up right now, vomiting and with diarrhea. Yes, hot chicken soup really boosts your immunity. It's an old-fashioned, old wives' remedy, and it does work. Well, let's be clear. We're not sure why my show over here is not getting any feedback. Let's see. We got some people like Tekwala can't get into the show. We know that's been happening. Yeah. So the White House is expecting an Iranian response in the coming weeks. It's not a witch hunt. No. It's not. It's not a Russian hoax. Donald Trump truly was controlled by the Russians during the entire country. During the past 3 years, Donald Trump has been receiving information from Vladimir Putin secretly on his cell phone. I'm not making that up. It really is happening. I'm thinking maybe if I talk like Donald, the Republicans might respond to me. That yes, Russia has been talking secretly to Donald Trump for some very long time on his cell phone. Yeah, you got to make your chicken soup from scratch. You can't get no canned stuff. Well, you can get canned stuff and mix it in. That's a good way to do it, man. But you got to start with onions and oregano, basil, Italian seasoning, and garlic. Garlic is good. It's an antibiotic. Yeah. I recommend it, man. It's all good. Hey, you Twitchers are going to check me out. Let me see if I can go to your Twitch location. Twitch. You ever notice that some of these Twitchers and the gamers that are actually rapidly degenerating into spasms? Have you seen that? They've got a gaming thing. They're like starting to twitch. It's weird. The weirdest thing. I was like, and their eyes are having like weird blasts of energy. They're going to probably go blind. So, I mean, I think Twitch is an apt name for a gaming site. Yes, sir, I have served our nation. I assigned myself as a selective service candidate in 1983. And by putting my name down there as a potential draftee, I was serving my nation. That's right. Did you ever see any hard times in real war, Mad Dog? Because my dad sure did. He won World War II. How many wars have you won? Yeah. How many wars have you won, sir? Doctor had me take 2 times daily probiotics to curb the antibiotics. It does work. Really? We're not here to talk about your life supplements, but I guess people could click that. Egyptian Jewish physician and philosopher recommended chicken soup for cold symptoms in his 12th century writings. Absolutely. With all our infinite knowledge, and believe me, doctors are so stupid, it's unbelievable. They're so full of their ego that they think that they should charge $300 an hour because lawyers charge $500 an hour. Yes, doctors are unbelievable egomaniacs. They don't know anything really about the human brain. But what's worse is they can't even cure a common cold, yet they claim to have all this knowledge of the body of the humans and how to deal. They don't know anything. It's smoke and mirrors with most doctors. And when they tell you, oh, you could take chemo, yeah, like how proven is that working? Yeah, how well is that working, really? I hear that, man. I believe in holistic therapy whenever you are dealing with some sort of a major trauma with your body. Queen Victoria actually said that the other queen, she said that if you ignore your illness long enough, it'll go away. And she lived to be nearly 100 years old. So there you have it. Perhaps Queen Elizabeth should follow her suit. Queen Elizabeth, if you're listening, do like your mom and just ignore your illnesses. So if you get a little acid indigestion from the adrenochrome, simply take an elixir of some sort. The brat diet, banana, rice, applesauce, and toast. That's pretty smooth. Yeah, I mean, I can think of nothing more mellow than that without any protein. But I mean, if you're trying to like mellow out your stomach, banana, rice, applesauce, and toast, it's pretty smooth. I see your point. That's not true, Mad Dog. No. That's not true. Had you been doing it off the side of the deck, other guys would have seen you. Are you assuming that you did it in the toilet and it expurged itself in the Indian Ocean? Oh, okay. I get you. So you have an upset stomach. This is an excellent idea. Well, there are things that help, like obviously sipping ginger ale. You'd be surprised. It may not seem, like an old remedy, but it is. Yeah, a little bit of ginger ale will calm that stomach down a little bit, but you can't drink too much of it. Ginger is actually very medicinal, but I'm not here prescribing information. David, we should make third world countries have their own world war. We already are, yeah. We're making them have their own. You don't think we're giving support to Iraq without charging them, do you? They got $2 trillion of free support over the past 20 years. Yeah. They'll have to pay eventually. Is Misa here? No, Misa's not here. He's long gone. It's Meta. Meta is still an op, yeah. He has op status. He hasn't used much of it. If you don't use it, you'll lose it, but that's okay. I'm giving him honorary mod status for as long as he wants it. He never asked for it. Whoa, meth use is up 6-fold. Fentanyl use quadrupled in the U.S. in the last 6 years. These are bad statistics, and Kellyanne Conway isn't helping with her anti-opiate campaign. And Donald Trump gave Kellyanne Conway the role of stopping our opioid epidemic. Yeah, can you imagine giving that woman the role of stopping an opioid epidemic? Seriously? Yeah, I'm not sure what to think of that. I'm not sure where to go with that. Yeah. Well, let me ask this question. Do you think this woman can handle discussing the opioid epidemic nationally and actually making progress with it? I mean, look at those eyes. Is she on something? I mean, really? The only one with eyes like that is Duterte, you know? Rodrigo Duterte, the president of the Philippines. David, you're being very crude, and I don't like that. I have no experience with weird drugs of any sort. I'm very normal. I have a lovely life with my husband. Do you like my earrings? They're very special. Yeah, I could actually, see this woman handling her purse as she goes through the checkpoints with about 50 pills in them. I mean, come on. So no wonder meth is up 6-fold and fentanyl up quadruple in the last 6 years. I don't consider her husband a left-wing lunatic at all. Her husband's the only one with any balls who stood up to Donald Trump. I like her husband, and I like Kellyanne Conway. And I'm not saying she's a drug user, okay? In no way, I've never heard her with any sniffling problem like Trump has had, you know? Yeah, we know that he had a cold for a few weeks when he was doing the debates. We know that it's not easy when you have, mucus rolling down or your deviated septum or something, and you come off with a few, sniffles during an important debate. It's perfectly normal. But that was 136 times we recorded him sniffling, and I was there the night we did it. No, Sarah doesn't shower every other week. That's ridiculous. She meant her hair, fool. Sarah takes a shower practically every day. We're talking about her hair. Beautiful hair, long, shiny hair. And she's got beautiful hair. One of the reasons why her hair is so beautiful is she doesn't wash it every single day. You heard her she meant shower her hair. It was not some physical body thing. I shower every 4 seconds, but you can't see the spritz going on. It's all handled by the computer system below. Shh, 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 shh. No, she meant washing her hair. I know, I see her in the shower practically every night. I don't see her there, but I mean, she's in the shower. I'm not like standing there going, come on. You probably would, though. That's the kind of perv you are. Yeah. Sir Sponheim, question, is it true you plan on diverting all the water from Niagara Falls to power the American electricity grid, thus leaving Canadians without power? No. There is a building that I want to, as your leader, I will do everything in my power to turn the armory at Niagara Falls into something important. Yeah, there's an armory on Main Street in Niagara Falls that is absolutely beautiful. Sarah and I drove by it. You can lease it. And I've been looking at this building for some time. I might want to lease it for some purpose, from some government purpose. I'm not sure what, but it is beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Well-built structure. I was really impressed. It's got some issues, but look at the construction ability. You know, it's almost phenomenal how well built it is. I'd have to check it out inside to really evaluate it, but it's got a lot of grounds. We could definitely use it for something for the U.S. government. Yeah, shampoo will ruin your hair if you use it every day. Thank you. And that's exactly why she is not washing her hair every day. All right? And we warned you about the N-word here. Sarah was trying to tell you guys, don't be a racist, and you just don't get it. What's wrong with you? Got a Three Stooges video of the Niagara Falls, really?
And then I came face to face with a rat that had ruined my life. It was in Niagara Falls.
Wow. Well, that looks like fun. Yeah, let me go take that into our evening loop. At least 1 minute of fun. I can't play it now, of course. YouTube doesn't want us to have any fun. They want to make sure no one can actually see anything. But that's a pretty nice armory building, and it's huge. The whole corner, it's for lease. So I'm wondering if we needed something like that. You have been in violation of the word. This is a bannable offense. Someone used your idea on the container wall? Okay. That's not necessarily solely my idea. Oh, sole mio. Oh, Soleimani. Soleimani was just... Did you see what happened? He was virtually hamburger meat when they got done with him. What a tragic end of a life, really, when you think about it.
Well, I did not see it, but...
Well, the guy would literally turned... All they had was his ring finger when he got done. Hey, look at the container idea. It turned into a swimming pool.
That's pretty cool.
I love it. That's a great idea. We might want to put a container swimming pool in. That's a pretty awesome idea.
That is very cool. You need to save that.
I will. Thanks for that link.
Mod pool.
Mod pool. Thanks, Medveral. That's a great idea. Yeah, that's a neat idea. I'm loving it. I don't mind if people make money on containers. It's awesome. I love the reuse of containers. So a lot of people, DT got hit with that stomach flu that's been going around the Midwest.
Oh my goodness, it's horrible.
I know.
My whole family got it.
Everybody got the stomach flu. It's got the chills, vomiting, diarrhea. Oh my gosh. Hopefully the air won't blow northwest.
I do like soap, especially there's this company called, I think it's called the Cake Soap Company or something like that. It makes an amazing shea butter coconut smelling soap.
Slammer of the Hogs, we have a concept that we've already talked about, the 1,000-mile container fence. This is our idea, and I can do it for under $1 billion. So this is an idea we talk about, and I am the original idea person with the 1,000-mile fence. I actually measured the distance we needed. So when Trump came up with a 1,000-mile wall, he used my idea, basically. Oh, we're going to have Mexico pay for it. No problem. But the containers could be used for residence for immigrants waiting for asylum. We can actually work with that idea and actually cover the other side with more stronger concrete, if you will.
You'll be happy to know that I took a shower last night.
And I wanted to clarify that you take a shower practically every night, but you once a week do your hair.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I mean, I was offended by what some people were saying some people smell or something. And
yeah, it's ridiculous.
I was saying that all people can smell.
Well, they took your statement out of context because you wash your hair once a week. And just to save your follicles. So she washes her hair once a week. That was what you took out of context. Okay.
It doesn't even matter either.
No. Say you're living in India and you wash once every 6 months. That doesn't matter either unless you're sitting next to me, and then I would obviously smell that person. So. Then it would matter. Yeah, washing your hair all the time strips the oils. And she wouldn't have such luscious hair if she did that. There is
Anyway,
a reason,
moving
yes.
on.
I'm going to step out right now.
You've never noticed Relief, the drug that you take when you first notice a cold coming on? I take sometime, maybe I should take it before I start going back to school, but I don't. I feel really healthy right now. But there's oh, what do I take? I take like a tea kind of thing. Anyway. No, it's just a hat. It's a wool hat. Shall I take it off? I like my wool hat. Yeah, what is that? I take Airborne. That's what I take. You've had the cold. 2 grams of vitamin C per day. Hoxter. Good advice. When I do get sick, I usually have ginger and sometimes garlic, but ginger, lemon, honey, and tea is very good. You think Airborne has yellow number 5? I'll have to look at that. You're welcome, Hoxter. I think Mad Dog did go to sing to DT to sleep, but DT and Mad Dog are back for some reason. Yeah, eat right, wash your hands, and you can avoid illness. Yes, the green screen makes it look like there's blinking LEDs on my hat. I kind of like that effect. My hat looks like it has a 5G network going on with all the blinking, twinkling. It's because it's green in front of a green screen. So funny. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a Christmas hat. Well, it looks like it has Christmas lights going on. It is kind of tricky to look at it. It's like, whoa, I'm tripping out with that hat, man. If it really looked like that in real life, I could keep the attention of the kids all the time. I would think they're looking at me and they'd just really be looking at my hat. Which would be good, but it doesn't really look like this. It's really just a green hat, green wool hat. This is day 8 of the cold, but you're starting to feel better. Wow. I bet you could find one like that. I know they did have an LED. Somebody had an LED Santa hat that said like Happy Holiday. No, I think it said Seahawks on it. Oh, poor my cat Fluffy. I definitely recommend some ginger for you. That'll settle your stomach. I guess sometimes we do, Cal Worthington. I hate how people think, oh, women shouldn't talk a certain way or people shouldn't talk about certain things. Exactly. Exactly, DT. Honest ones do. Do you have the stomach flu, my cat Fluffy? Hopefully not. Yeah, my family had the horrible flu, whatever's going on. It's a human, actually it's an animal thing, Mad Dog. Pretty much all animals do. Yes, exactly. Yes, do drink water. That will help get over the stomach flu as well. My mom always says, like, drink more water. Like, it'll solve everything. No, women are not supposed to smell like mothballs. That must be some kind of perfume they're using. I hate the smell of mothballs. I really do. It's so artificial. I know that there are some cleansers that people use that smell like mothballs. Oh. Sometimes there's perfumes that smell like them. It's just gross. I do not like that smell. Well, I will purge you every time you say it in my presence. Yeah, mothballs, not good. Pine Sol? Pine Sol doesn't smell good either. I mean, yeah. Is that what you want women to smell like? You want them to smell like Pine Sol? Ah, hot Russian tea. Okay. Well, yeah, but it's just so artificial. Okay, another one and I'll mute you. And then if you come back while I'm in here, then I'll ban you. Zero Hedge is claiming 19 million adults oppose marijuana legalization, meaning at least 11 million are in favor of it. Well, I've already said the word I don't like being used, Mad Dog, so there you go. Yes, while I'm on this show, you are more than welcome to go do your own show. Say what you'd like on that show. Because I have the right to association. Wow. Man. Sounds like something you ate, my cat Fluffy. Man. Does it feel like it's coming up? Is it like ache up above or just is it further down below? And is it on your right side or on your left side? Or are you just bloated? Definitely get some right there in the middle. I prefer you use the term Black or African American. Yes, I do dress like this in public. Do you dress like that in public? Okay, 6165, you made me smile. There you go. No, there's a difference. You do have, if you're running a business, you do have to serve everyone equally. Human beings, you have to serve all humans equally. Now you could say, no shoes, no shirt, no service. As long as you treat everyone that way, then you're fine. Yeah, pain can be because of gas buildup. That's true. Cheers to you, 165. It's been mild there on the East Coast. I heard like a week ago you guys had some severe storms. For the last 3 days from like until today. Today was a really beautiful day, but for the last 3 days we've had really heavy windstorms. No snow, but definitely rain. Yeah, you know, but I'm glad to hear it's been mild there on the East Coast. Strong wind and rain coming to your area too. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. We usually have a tradition where it usually gets really windy in November, and we have our backyard is full of Douglas fir trees, and so usually after a big windstorm, we'll go and we'll collect the branches and tie them together and create instead of buying a Christmas tree or cutting down a Christmas tree, we usually tie all the branches up together from the windstorms and make our tree out of that. But this year the windstorms didn't happen until right now, like that last 3 days. Today, except today, I don't know if it'll be windy tonight, but yeah, it is kind of like a Charlie Brown tree. But I really like our tree. Yes, our tree is still up. It's doing very well. Sorry. Yeah. Wow. Well, I don't know if David's fighting with his food, but he's doing something. I'm okay, Barcode Pongo. How are you? Anyway. Good, I'm glad you're doing well. Yeah, well, he's heating up his coffee. That's it. This year we cut some cedar branches because there were no windstorms before Christmas. And so we cut some branches from our cedar tree and we have those up. And I really like that because the cedar doesn't have like the needles aren't falling off. The cedar's more made of like a dragon-like skin kind of thing, or dragon-like scales on their. It's like scales on the leaves for a cedar tree. Smells really good still, and yeah, it's really really nice.
Are they still behaving that way?
A little bit.
So you're still having to scold them. They're acting like children.
Yeah, a little bit. But whatever. I'm just moving on. They're talking about their cold. Well, he's not banned Cal Worthington, so maybe he's just moved on to better things. I would say you can tell him thank you for helping me. Learn to code. I have plenty of heat, thank you. QAnon has said that. No, you want me to wear makeup on Monday. None as far as I know, Mad Dog. I sometimes do wear makeup, but I just don't feel the need lately. Today you learned your tax dollars pay for something called the Federal Depository Library Program, and you want it defunded immediately? Why? No, thank you. I'm good for you. I'm glad you're a genealogist. I did read about your, what is it, grandfather? Really am glad I never knew him. Yeah, pretty much. 485, pretty much. Iranian hackers breached a U.S. government website in retaliation for airstrikes. I figured that was gonna be the issue. How so? He was a segregationist, from what you linked me to. How are you saying he did positive things for minorities in the state of Georgia?
Okay, I'm ready for action, Jackson. Ah, yes.
I disagree.
What is it we're disagreeing about today? Okay.
There's a difference when you're a business owner versus when you're just associating with people.
Are we still having a conversation with a Southern Democrat about racial freedom? This is crazy. Why don't you get along with the program? Civil Rights Act passed, Mad Dog. Deal with it, okay? My goodness. Sarah, does Mad Dog creep you out more than 80% of the time? Yeah. Come on, he just like harasses us in the show and he wonders why he's kicked out. Thank you so much for putting up with him tonight.
No, thank you. I'd rather not associate with you.
Yeah, we don't like hanging around racists, Mad Dog. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Enjoy. It's a shame you have to put her through that, man. It's terrible what you do to her, yeah. Sarah is not. No, you are clearly being muted now. Sarah, that's right. His family, he met some people who I can honestly say didn't like me because I was, excuse me to say, I'm white. Oh, and then you say you soon found out you're Canadian. Oh my God, their attitude changed. Yeah. Wow. So you are white, yes. I'm not sure why you'd feel prejudiced against Mad Dogs or Mad Dog, whatever. I'm not here to talk about the same thing Sarah was talking about for the past half hour. We have other things on our list, like war with Iran. Yeah, Iran is very angry at what Mr. Trump has done. And Trump has warned that if any Americans get hit, American assets, we have targeted 52 Iranian sites. Beware of a person with no mind making decisions with massive weapons. That would be Donald Trump. Yeah, I know. It's scary. You put the power of a country in the hands of a man who's not quite clearly there. They say he has memory issues. He doesn't even remember who he's talking to after about 2 minutes. Are you Kellyanne Conway? No, you're Carolyn Sunshine. You look like Kellyanne Conway, but... That's not acceptable. We don't take pictures of Mad Dog in the show. That was him having fun. Let's repeat the same story for the third time. Okay. Could we make it a fourth? Thanks. Okay, we're going to repeat the same story for a fourth time. Trump warns Iran if it hits any Americans or American assets, we have targeted 52 Iranian sites. Fox's Tucker Carlson breaks with colleagues and criticizes Trump's strike on Iranian general. Would you like 5 times now, Medveral? I'll be glad to go 5 times. Trump praised Tucker Carlson along with other conservative Fox News. We have a great people, Trump said. A few hours later, Carlson tore into Trump's decision to authorize a U.S. airstrike that killed.
A rocket attack on the Baghdad airport kills Iran's most revered military leader and a senior official in Iraq's paramilitary forces. Now, the Pentagon announced tonight that the attack was a U.S. airstrike. Here's the statement. At the direction of the president, the U.S. military has taken decisive defensive action to protect U.S. personnel abroad by killing Qasem Soleimani, the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Quds Force, a U.S.-designated foreign terrorist organization. Now, General Soleimani was actively developing plans to attack American diplomats and service members in Iraq and throughout the region. General Soleimani and his Quds Force were responsible for the deaths of hundreds of American and coalition service members and the wounding of thousands more. He had orchestrated attacks on coalition bases in Iraq over the last several months, including the attack on December 27th, culminating in the death and wounding of additional American and Iraqi personnel. General Soleimani also approved the attacks on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad that took place this week. The strike was aimed at deterring future Iranian attack plans. The United States will continue to take all necessary action to protect our people and our interests wherever they are around the world. Now, this from the president a few moments ago. He tweeted just an image of an American flag.
Okay, someone, thank you. Someone just came in here and said that we don't have the list of targets right now. That would be secret information. I'm so sorry. Donald Trump has not released the list of 52 targets. We're learning about the Federal Depository Library Program, and you want to defund the program because you found out your tax dollars are going in there. Okay, guest 919. DHS monitoring apparent hack of government library. Top stories.
President Trump just tweeted warning Iran that the United States has identified 52 Iranian sites and, quote, will be hit very fast and very hard if Iran retaliates.
Okay, that's the 5th time we've talked about this today. Shall we go for 6? 6 times? Anyway. She's here with the ex-NATO commander. Do you want to listen to this? I kind of do. Wow. There was a website that displayed President Trump bleeding from his mouth with an Islamic Revolutionary Guard fist in his face. Wow. Defacement. Department of Homeland Security is monitoring the apparent hack of a government website. Interesting. That's interesting.
What's your reaction to that?
Well, it's probably a good statement by the president. I mean, I think the administration understands that there's a serious risk of consequences here. I think they understand that it's unlikely that the Iranian regime is going to now come hand in hand to the negotiating table and say, okay, you killed our number 2 guy, let's talk, we're ready to surrender.
Right.
They're not going to do that.
Right.
So he's trying to establish a warning again that they better not attack. It's probably not going to work. I'd say the odds are that given Iran's politics domestically, given the way the administration in Iran or the regime in Iran has handled itself, it's probably going to have to, for its own credibility, to hold its followers together, to intimidate those in Iran who don't believe in it. It's going to have to find a way to strike back. But here's the other thing that they have to understand, Essie, that they're looking at the United States. They understand our politics pretty well. And President Trump obviously understands our politics pretty well because he accused President Obama in 2011 of wanting to start a war so he'd be reelected. So the Iranians have to understand that they're playing into the domestic politics of the United States in a way that strengthens the President of the United States when they strike us. There'll be lots of criticism of him that's partisan, but the fact is that Americans rally around the leadership when Americans are in danger. That's just natural.
Well,
and
yeah,
so this could deter Iran.
Okay.
The odds are against it, but there is that's a factor. It has to be considered.
Okay. This is Wesley Clark now, but let me show you Wesley Clark earlier, talking about the whole series of things you're watching right now play out before you.
About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff. Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They've just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper. He said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." The truth is about the Middle East is, had there been no oil there, it would be like Africa. Nobody is threatening to intervene in Africa. The problem is the opposite. We keep asking for people to intervene and stop it. In Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran. starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran. And then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
Okay, so my argument is we never even bothered to go after the oil in Iraq. We let the oil just spill all over the ground. Standard Oil dropped their operations in northern Baghdad. We basically never got any money back for the $2 trillion war we invested in Iraq. So what does Donald Trump want to do? Now start another war in Iran. And you're wondering, why would we want to waste more money on that? Because this man has pissed off a lot of people, and he happened to be in Iraqi territory at the time. We thought he was doing some bad things. Pretty sure he was doing what they claim was involved in the attack on the embassy in Baghdad. So we have a justification in theory for taking this guy out, but it is a provocative move by Donald Trump, no question about it. So it's on him, this entire operation. And if we move in and do retaliate to what is next for Iran to go after us, this is just a serious ongoing escalation. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Now, Donald Trump needs an escalation in order to justify his position as president, to make himself feel like he's the supreme leader, even though he has a history of draft dodging into another long, protracted war, more capable of defending themselves, 5 times more capable of defending themselves than Iraq was, and Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein, shock and awe. That's 20 years into it. We're still there in Iraq. I'm not talking about like Jimmy Carter. I believe strategic moves would be necessary right now. But we don't need to move at this point. Yeah. Even if Iran were to create this nuclear weapon and threaten us with it right now, which they could, they may already have the nuclear weapon online, then we're getting closer to that predicament of them threatening us. We're only pushing the inevitable closer to now as opposed to later. That's all we're doing. We're moving the timetable up with Trump's actions. If we'd have to go after that nuclear weapon one way or another to try to dismantle it because they don't want to play by the ball game that we put out, there's another way around this. We could actually work toward non-proliferation again with a different way around it. No longer being the puppet of Israel, but rather more of a neutral party. If we were to frame ourselves at that point in this way, we might actually make some progress without offering big carrots, other than removing most economic sanctions. That's it. No cash over the barrelhead, like Obama offered. It wasn't likely they're going to stop making a nuclear weapon either way, so why give them $155 billion? So I was against the treaty, as you know. I'm not planning on putting troops to the ground. That's the problem. The people that are involved in this right now better plan on putting troops to the ground, and I would never do that as president. So there you have it. You either go through this process properly and actually secure the Strait of Hormuz, or you don't even waste your time, because you're only creating a potential blockade or barricade, which Iran's next move is probably to put a barricade in front of the Strait of Hormuz, preventing anyone from getting through, and trade stopping. Price of oil could increase up to $5 to $6 a gallon for gas, $75 to $80 a barrel. Let's see what the price of oil is right now. This is really about why pursue something that may be inevitable, may not be. Donald Trump is pulling a ripcord because he's in danger of being impeached. He's doing whatever he can for his own personal gain, and he's putting the world in danger. 2020 will be a crucial year for oil, according to this article. It's the start of a new year and a new decade, and the oil market is as unpredictable as ever. Will OPEC extend its cuts? Will U.S. shale finally grind to a halt? Is this the year of the electric vehicle? Here are 10 stories to watch in 2020. Year of the EV, climate change. No, this isn't the story I was looking for. Oil price jumps on fear of Iranian retaliation over U.S. killing of Soleimani. The price of oil surged on Friday on concerns Iran might respond to the killing of its top general by the U.S. by disrupting global supplies of energy from the Middle East. Yep, so this is the next move for them, and frankly, that leads us to a battle in the ocean, positioning of our aircraft carriers. I'm assuming that Donald Trump has already moved aircraft carriers into the Mediterranean in anticipation of this attack, and if he hasn't, he may be a little too late. There are contingency plans to deal with Iran if they were to do the worst possible thing would be to take their merchant marine vessels and put them in the middle of the Strait of Hormuz and wait for them to be blown up or blow them up themselves, which would block the strait and prevent anyone from doing trade in that region. That's the worst possible scenario. If Trump predictably attacks the 52 targets that he's claiming to do, that could be their next move. They still have a battery of defenses on their ocean side ready for action, including proton weapons, beam technology, and the ability to do deadly damage to incoming rockets through an anti-ballistic missile system that Russia sold him. So here we are doing buddy with Vladimir Putin while Iran is their number one major supplier or perhaps buyer of weapons. I mean, Russia wants to sell them weapons, so yeah, maybe Russia wants us to be at war with Iran so they can sell some more weapons to Iran. I don't know. I still contend that Russia wants the price of oil to go up. And if this move by Donald Trump was not solely for a diversion, worst case scenario is it's something Vladimir Putin ordered him to do, which would trigger the price of oil to go up, which would help the Russian economy immensely. Because Putin is getting a lot of flack at home for a shrinking economy, and it's not good for its people, so he wants to really profit from the oil that he's had in arrears waiting to profit from long term. Remember, Russia primarily banked on their oil supply as a key tool for economic development. Oil dropped about the past 5 or 6 years. So getting the price of oil up is definitely a Russian move. Yes, exactly, Bob. Iran will try and sink a tanker in the Strait, just like they did when Iran mined it in 1984. That's correct. So that was my next point, Bob. Yeah, we had to clear the mines in 84, and there's still mines there anyway from the Iranians prior. So we're dealing with a snake pit of potential mines blowing off in the Strait. So why would Trump want to engage these people while we're still trading in that region? Why would he do that? There's got to be an ulterior motive. And the only two that come to mind would be he wants to get the price of oil up for Russia to do what Vladimir Putin wants, or he's just looking for a simple diversion from the impeachment hearing that he's facing right now regarding his relationship with Vladimir Putin and Ukraine. So a combination of things could be happening right now. The diversion theory does kind of have more weight, in my opinion. I don't think he's necessarily doing this for Vladimir Putin, but Putin could definitely order him to do this without ever letting the Iranian people know that that was his order. Be a very stealth move, and Iran would still think Russia's got their back. Meanwhile, Iran starts ordering more missiles, slowly increasing their ordnance of Russian capacity. Russia makes sales, and it works. It's a win-win for Russia because the price of oil goes up. Interesting. Yeah, so this engagement is actually a win-win for Russia. Yep. I don't know how you just burped. Maybe it was that tea you were drinking. Is video on? Okay. We were just censored hard on Vaughn, everyone. for all your references. So it really comes down to two things. When we reduce this entire problem of the Russians and the Iranians and the U.S. to what really is at play here, Iran's economy needs stimulation. Russia's economy needs stimulation. They both need to do some trading. They need a reason to trade. So maybe an escalation of forces is what is really at play here. This over a long period of time. And this very likely could be Vladimir Putin's request of Donald Trump, because he wins either way, whether it's the price of oil going up or Iran ordering more MiGs and S-400s to defend their country. So Vaughn is definitely knocking us down. Is video down still? Well, it makes me realize that I'm onto something very important right now. Okay, we're back up again. Thank you. Yeah, who wins in this operation? And the question is, if Iran makes a big move to hurt us in some way, then we retaliate. Where do we go from there? Iran then retaliates. It then probably locks up the Gulf. That's their next big move. We have a couple options, and I'm not going to give you those options right now because I'm not going to in any way show what I would do, because I'm not going to tell even my enemy what I would do. But we are getting closer to the top of the 12 o'clock hour with the nuclear clock down. The nuclear clock in the top of the 12 o'clock hour is already almost there. Global nuclear war. Yeah. Because so many people are trying to attack me on a nightly basis, you underestimate what's really happening. I have to kick you out of here. I'm not leaving Vaughn because somebody pays them to stop our broadcast. I still broadcast on free networks no matter what. Why would I leave a free network? What would I gain from that? Well, I must say, having never known who this general is and having our top military say that he was a bad guy is enough for me to say, sure, what was he doing in Iraq? Was he planning on an event? Top intelligence says he was. We cannot in any way let an opportunity go by, and maybe this was the right opportunity. So minimizing the seriousness of Donald Trump's decision, making it seem like this is the right thing to do, we at least can now feel justified that we avenged a very bad man and we eliminated that person from the scenario. We also destabilized their military because they then have to respond with new military rankings and new orders of operation. So it does destabilize their operation in Iran considerably. We have a show on YouTube right now, Bob. Why don't you go over there and hang out? We need people to come in there. Yeah, check it out. You go to our YouTube channel at the bottom of our page, America's Third Party, and you click on the YouTube channel. It'll take you there either way. Playing live as we speak. You want to take a look at the file I just made. Not sure why the video keeps knocking me off. Strange. Yeah, I'm making videos and I'm somehow getting truncated at 3 hours or something. How would I be a traitor? I'm not the one working for Russia like Trump is. How would I be a traitor? 1 minute and 33 seconds. Okay. That was quite a starting point. Apparently I didn't make a recording tonight. Okay, so we'll do a 9 o'clock recording starting right around now. Now, how can I be a traitor when I'm not working for Russia? Trump is the traitor. My goodness. Fool. What an idiot. Okay, this is what we stand for, which is different than the two parties. You'll watch this, you'll get a real feel for it. evening, everyone. Welcome to our show. We record some of our shows. Other times we're not recording them. We're trying to minimize the amount of time we actually are on the internet because, as you know, we run 5-hour live broadcasts every night plus a 3-hour video cast, 8 hours every night. So sometimes we only record a small portion of the day's events for archiving purposes. But we're all reeling from the death of this person and Iran's response. I don't think any Americans are losing sleep over the death of this man who's done some bad things to our military over the time that he's been general in Iran. But this is definitely a provocation by Donald Trump, forcing Iran's hand. And Iran, as you know, is a very proud nation who has a strong economy, almost the size or growing economy, aspiring to be the size of India's. And we're now starting a military operation against a country that is seemingly having some economic problems as a result of the sanctions that Donald Trump has imposed. So, this being a provocation by Donald Trump, I'm putting the theory out that Donald Trump is in hot water with our senators and congressmen, and this very likely could be just an elaborate diversion. Yeah, an elaborate diversion. So, that's one theory that I presented. But there's another even more disturbing theory that I have that many people would probably have never heard, and I'm probably one of the few people who have even mentioned it. But that is that Donald Trump is doing this for Russia. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put this out there again. Try refreshing here. We are getting DDoS very quickly right now. I just refreshed. Hopefully it'll be back. Donald Trump could be doing this for Russia. And just hear me out real brief. Russia really has a lot of money leveraged on their oil supply. And they've been wanting the price of oil to go up. Vladimir Putin has been making contact with Prince MBS and giving him a high five, like right here. You can see them high-fiving it right there in front of everybody. This is about a year ago, but you can see that Putin wants MBS to collaborate with him to get the price of oil up. It's written practically all over his face.
This high five between Mohammed bin Salman and Vladimir Putin. I want to see if we can just rerun those pictures again. There we go. You kind of got it again.
Yeah, so they're getting along really well. Meanwhile, the price of oil is now skyrocketing because of what Donald Trump just did, the provocative thing he just did. And it makes you wonder if Vladimir Putin didn't make a phone call to Donald Trump to do this. Unbeknownst to Iran, who would never ever think such a thing was possible. If Russia were to do this, it would have to be through back channels with the puppet Donald Trump making the move. Puts all of us at the edge of our seat thinking we may have a nuclear war here on our hands. Because many people believe that the biblical future of humanity is resting on some sort of a Middle East war. That's what many people believe. I don't, but many people believe that. So Donald Trump just put basically threw his hat in the race for a nuclear war, a possible nuclear war, because what he did was so provocative that it destabilizes the potential peace in the region. Now, what would Iran do now as a response? Because Trump is saying if Iran hurts any Americans right now, he will respond in full force on 52 targets in Iran. Well, Iran could actually do nothing and could ignore the situation and harbor a tremendous grudge, leaving Trump no options other than to maybe just expect the price of oil to go up. And it has. But if Iran were to retaliate somehow, and they've already done a lot of things like shoot one of our UAVs out of the water in the Mediterranean. If Iran does something like that again, it doesn't hurt anybody, it would be a minor provocation. But if they go after real people and hurt real people, and it not just one general who was commanding operations hurting our forces many, many years ago, but rather hurting our forces right now, if that were to happen, then Trump would retaliate. Then Iran could very well possibly send some sort of an aircraft carrier or some sort of a destroyer into the Strait of Hormuz and detonate it. Or worse, start a battle in the middle of the strait, blocking the strait, which would prevent trade in the region for many years to come. Putting a worldwide crisis together, an oil crisis together. So that's something that could happen. My hair is perfectly fine. It's been fixed. It looks good. Yeah, my hair is perhaps the nicest it's been in a while. Thank you. Bummer, yeah. So you think Iran will form with China and Russia? What then, Tom? Stupid. Yeah. Yeah, Tom, what happens when Iran works with China and Russia to gang up against us? Yeah, what happens then? What happens if we commit our troops to the Navy out there and send aircraft carriers into the Mediterranean? And then we see potential targets within Iran that become, fair game, and we just start an incessant carpet bombing raid on a country with 82 million people. What happens then? Anyone know? Well, our aircraft carriers become vulnerable. Now, back in the 1990s, Bill Clinton had a guy named Cohen, Secretary of Defense Cohen. And he was, ironically, a Republican who served he served with Bill Clinton, which was unusual. But his primary statement, William Cohen's primary statement that he made was the one thing that really kind of shocked the world, was that our Navy is obsolete. And he was a very respected Secretary of Defense, and he said our Navy is obsolete. Well, that means that we could have people sitting ducks out there in the middle of the Mediterranean or in the Persian Gulf that would potentially be attacked by Iran, and we could lose a lot of men in this process. That's not good. Having destroyers and having fleets in certain areas are very well protected because they've got the ability to defend themselves. But with heat-seeking missiles and the new technology, laser technology that Iran possesses, are we really in the mood to take that chance? And why? Really, how would we benefit from that? So carpet bombing all of Iran isn't really the best thing for our Navy. And the problems could come home to roost. All of this is on Donald Trump. That's the problem. All of it. He's created the problem. He's got to answer to it. It wasn't because our embassy was attacked that he basically killed a man who was a very bad man, who he claimed was behind the embassy attack, but there was no time to really verify that. This is very knee-jerk reaction. Very much of a saber-rattling move by Donald Trump, and at a time when he's vulnerable politically at home. So it may shore up his idea of being the great, strong leader that he thinks he is, but having a history of draft dodging with his fake bone spur operation, I can guarantee Donald Trump doesn't have foot surgery scars. I can guarantee you can't show me foot surgery scars from when he had his bone spurs removed, when he claimed that he was unable to go into the war that killed 58,000 men. So I really seriously doubt that his podiatrist, whose daughters, by the way, who are still surviving, said that their dad never paid rent to Fred Trump. I seriously don't think that Trump ever really was like an average person and had to go fight in the war in Vietnam. So here we have a draft dodger trying to start a war with Iran because he wants to divert our attention from his collusion with Russia. That's basically where we're at. No, I would have served in Vietnam if I was born about 3 years earlier. I would have been one of those people that the draft would have called necessarily. 58,000 men died because of that mistaken war. And if Trump was, he was in power when Nixon was in power, I'm almost positive that we would still be at war with Vietnam right now. Anyway, I'm not here to question your service in the war or how much you've spent time in the military. I'm saying I'm a non-interventionist. I don't believe it's in our best interest to present a problem right now. I don't believe that it was our best interest to attack that man necessarily. But if our top military advisors felt that he had to be taken out, so be it. Now they have to respond and figure out what they're going to do. Because Trump already has telegraphed what he's going to do. And he said that he was going to do similar things to North Korea, which he didn't do. So we have to assume that Donald Trump won't follow up on his word. But if he does, and he targets 52 areas in Iran that he wants to take out, critical weapons depots, missile factories. There are 9 missile factories in Iran. Ironically, Iran does not have any refineries, which is interesting. A country with all that oil refuses to refine their own oil into gas. David, we received in our global transmission intelligence requests for contingents in your arrangement of your hair. Your followers have written to us. Consider them. Well, the best I can do, because I didn't shampoo today, and I really don't see what's wrong with my hair. The best I can do is put on my wig. So let me pull up my contingency plan and bring out the Dave wig. Okay? If that makes you feel better. Because I want to appease my fans across the globe. There you go. Now let me shrink it down a little bit. Is that an improvement for my worldwide fans? Yeah. Let's get the worldwide response right now. Do we have positive kudos here? You're muted on cam 2? I don't even see you on cam 2. Oh, there you are. Yeah, you are muted. If I put you on, you're going to start screaming bad words. I'm going to kick you out there. Goodbye. You think Larry Sinclair would approve? Okay, let's take a look at Larry Sinclair, everybody. Let's give him a shot.
Where Senator Obama exited the limousine with $250, which was provided to him by me. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine, after which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurnee, Illinois.
Now, please don't be prejudiced against this guy for being gay. Yeah, I think he's alive still. He's in Florida. He's running for office or something. I hope Ochinawa, are you happy now with the hair? Thank you. I knew you would. Now, I rarely do that, but some people have a bad hair day. They certainly don't want me to have bad hair. Yeah, he's gone. He can't be on the show now. He's violated our terms of service. Great. I think we've covered the territory. I don't think we have anything to talk about, but a man fed up with climate protesters in San Francisco takes matters into his own hands. Watch this. The climate change people in San Francisco are very active. Watch what he does.
I'm not employed.
There you go. He's yelling.
I seriously want to go down and yell at him.
That was very anticlimactic. Damn it.
Should we call the police on them, in all honesty, at this point? Yeah, I think we should. I'd say don't get involved. Don't get involved. Well, please, I'm not get in.
So they're blocking traffic with their banner talking about climate change.
Well, they'll say the one in, the second one from the end over there, the one that was 80 pump haircut.
Yeah.
It's really cute.
She needs a new brain.
This was going out there. She's yelling at him. Where's she going? Isn't that her car? She's an Uber. Oh, it's an Uber.
Walk the talk. Some guy's getting out.
Oh! He took it. This guy.
So some guy took the flag. Yeah. He grabbed it. He like walked up and grabbed the flag. Yeah, and he grabbed her phone too. Very angry, aggressive driver. Was pissed off. He was being held up because of the climate change activists. They were idling, using more energy and wasting and putting out greenhouse gases. Didn't those people know that those people weren't being efficient? Well, I like my real hair too, but we had complaints from Japan, and we take their complaints serious. Yeah, so we had to employ the wig tonight. But since I'm only on for their 40 minutes, I can handle it. How dare you? Yeah, this is the Dave wig. I have a couple wigs that I deploy. Hey, we got bigger problems in America. Donald Trump doesn't even recognize what's happening at his own border. Yeah. Here he wants to start a war with Iran. What about the drug cartels, Mr. Trump? Yeah, the Mexican drug cartels take man and beheads him ISIS style. Yeah, Trump isn't doing anything to resolve the problem with the cartels down there. He claims he's building a fence. Yeah, my idea, he hasn't even built it. I'm not going to show you the beheading of this guy. Yeah, I'm sure that would be something that some of you sick, sadistic people would want to do. But yeah, we have seriously a big problem with the cartels down there. And currently we have, there is a location, a hacienda near Juarez that's run by a very powerful drug lord. And you want to know what he has on that hacienda? He has a den of lions that he bought from a zoo. And he feeds people to the lions. And our government hasn't done a thing with that guy. We've watched him feed people to the lions through a satellite, but we don't do a damn thing for him. Yeah. How dare you? So I'm sure that we've got bad guys south of the border we have to focus on, but oh no, Donald Trump wants to start a war with Iran, now a nuclear nation. Nice. Trump threatens Iran with 52 sites that he's chosen. You know, I personally think he chose the number 52 for a reason. I was asking earlier, does anybody know the gematria configuration on that? Yeah. No, they don't. Well, I'm not a gematria guy myself, but I can tell you there's pick a card, any card. Yeah, maybe you'll get the Joker. Which one do you want? Yeah, any card, which comes to mind. Yeah, oh yeah, don't worry about the number of cards coming at you. Pick a card. Yeah, so I think he's playing the same routine George W. Bush did when they killed Iraqi leaders. They would take one of the cards out of the 52 decks. He's going to use a separate card for every locality he hits with his weapons. And Raytheon just got a new order. So they need to get a replacement on a lot of those UAVs. So there's possibly a third reason why Trump is doing this. Maybe to use our ordnance, you know? I mean, Raytheon makes money on that stuff. Why wouldn't they want to, you know? The emerging markets. The potential for money from Raytheon. Yeah, they have a lot of money. They have a contract right now for $862 million in the U.S. for UAVs. They just gave that contract to the U.S., or the U.S. gave it to Raytheon. So maybe they're just looking for a new refill on the UAV order. Well, he did mention that 52 is the number of hostages back in the 80s. Iran took 52. No, there were 50 hostages. take a look. Jog my memory here. The Iran hostage crisis occurred in the 70s. Remember Jimmy Carter, his response? Not much. 52, you are correct. 52. I stand corrected. You are correct. 52 hostages were taken for 444 days. Thank you. You got me on that one, NOS. Thank you. No, Joe, Mr. NOS is correct. They took 52 hostages, so that's why he chose the number. Big impeachment rally coming up for the anti-Trump group. Breaking down the big impeachment rally mystery. Take a look at Trump's big threat. Donald, go ahead. It's your time to shine. I'm dressed because the Japanese women and the geisha girls were not happy with my look earlier, so they needed a different look. So I put the wig on. It's preparatory for a potential problem from my Asian viewers. We're trying to minimize the Asian viewer problem.
After spending the day at his golf club, a fresh threat from President Trump. We have targeted 52 Iranian sites representing the 52 American hostages taken by Iran many years ago. Warning that if Iran strikes any Americans or American assets, those targets will be hit very fast and very hard. The president claiming that American lives were in danger based on intelligence that has yet to be shared with Congress.
This president has to make a case that there was an imminent threat.
And as Secretary of State Mike Pompeo calls allies, he's being met with criticism, not congratulations.
The Brits, the French, the Germans all need to understand that what we did, what the Americans did, saved lives in Europe as well.
And Vice President Mike Pence under fire for claiming that Soleimani assisted in the clandestine travel to Afghanistan of 10 of the 12 terrorists behind the 9/11 attacks. But according to the 9/11 Commission, neither Iran nor Hezbollah were involved in the planning of the attacks. There's no known intelligence to suggest that Soleimani was personally involved, and there were 19 9/11 attackers, not 12. Meanwhile, on the 2020 campaign, candidates questioning if the Trump administration has considered the consequences of targeting Iran's top military commander.
Patriotism is not starting an endless war.
There's a lot we have to learn between now and the next few days to weeks as to whether or not there was any rationale for what had happened.
President Trump's actions represent a dangerous escalation.
Hans Nichols joins us now. Hans, what prompted the president's stark warning tonight on Twitter?
Peter, the president is reacting to what he says is bold talk from Iran about targeting specific USA assets. He's saying this is a warning and that the USA wants no more threats.
Okay, there you go.
At Fire.
We'll see if that manifests into something. And breaking down the big impeachment rally mystery. What's going on? Democrats have flooded the streets by the millions to protest Trump before, so why do the protests calling for his removal stay so modest? Oh. You know, there are a lot of people. I saw people in my area. I've got a predominantly burn-tard area of libtards. And we've got people, you know, our area who are protesting on the streets about Trump, but just a few. You know, a real dyed-in-the-world Democrats who think that their Democratic Party is going to solve their problems.
Tonight, people across the country have come out to show their support for the impeachment of Donald Trump. Thousands of people rallied for impeachment in Times Square, and there were big crowds gathered in Philadelphia, and also crowds gathering in Seattle tonight. And people came out to support impeachment in Maine, in the snow, putting pressure on Maine's Republican Senator Susan Collins. People rallied to support impeachment in Kansas, and they came out to support impeachment in Louisiana. And here they are supporting impeachment in North Dakota, where the temperature is all of 14 degrees. And we're joined now by phone by Ezra Levin. He is the co-executive director.
We'll do it live. This is the guy that says, we'll do it live. Screw it, we'll do it live. That's pretty funny. All right, we're not going to glorify the libtards as they sit out there acting like they were representing the people when they represent the group of corporatists that have sucked our tax dollars for years and continue to raise taxes in your area. I hate the Democrats for that reason. Tax and spend Democrats. But then I don't like Donald Trump either because he doesn't seem to care about the environment or homelessness. And he wants to start a war with Iran. All those reasons I dislike him. And plus he even believes that we should have red flag laws, which is absurd. Why would we take away your Second Amendment? It's crazy. So Donald Trump is a little bit too fake too. This is not the beta look. This is the wig look that I wear when the people in Japan are upset and vocally upset about my earlier hairdo. The truth about the 2016 Dallas police shootout. Wow. We got a story from Australia too, about the creatures that are being created. Yeah, creatures. Aussie bushfires are creating horrific creatures. Yeah, 6-minute video. We're going to talk about that tonight. I tend to believe that these fires in Australia are being caused by directed energy weapons. But your guess is as good as mine. Without an arson investigation, just like California, we don't know who caused those.
In his own video, Dr. William Mound provided good evidence that this Wall Street Journal...
We don't take any William Mount evidence whatsoever in the show. Yeah, we don't take Mount evidence whatsoever in this show. The 2016 Dallas police shootout, I'm sorry, we won't even begin to take that crap in this show. Thank you. Rule that out. Sorry. Yeah, we used to cover that guy in our show, and it was ugly. He's all over the place. He joined the Lucis Trust, which is a group of Luciferians at the UN. Roster level Luciferians. And now he's a YouTube star. That's a little weird to me. Yeah, we won't take that video. Gifford's shooting fake. What's this? Okay, well, we'll look at that later because, as you know, that would be considered hate speech on YouTube. Yeah, that's worth watching later. Thank you. Here's a 1996 video of Biden without attacking Iran.
There's a suggestion now that Iran may be involved in the bombing of the U.S. service barracks in Tehran.
This wouldn't stop anything.
Do you know anything about this? The Secretary of Defense has hinted at it. And if, in fact, we find another country having been directly involved, what should we do?
Well, I do know a little bit about that. As a matter of fact, last November, 5 Americans were killed. It was the movement. It was Movement for Islamic Change. The Saudis then chopped the heads off of 4 of those terrorists. Just a few days before the Tehran bombing, there was a terrorist meeting with all the terrorist organizations, from Hezbollah to Hamas, including the Movement for Islamic Change, headed by really a fellow named Osama bin Laden. And these people, just a few days before, met in Tehran in a terrorism conference. And then there was a letter to one of the leading European Arab publications, just a day before, indicating there was going to be a terrorist incident, and it would happen in the morning. The morning was in
Do you
in the Middle
believe that
East.
Iran
It
is
did happen
behind
about
this?
the time when
Do you believe that Iran is behind this thing?
Well, I don't know, but the fact is,
They
it
yield to
looks like
sovereignty
there's.
if they are.
It looks like there's.
You want to know what
like
they do?
may be.
It's an act of
Biden
war.
will
if
give
they
you the
do.
last word.
And they yield their sovereignty if they do. Wiretaps won't change that.
An act of war,
It's an act
and
of
so
war.
the United States
It
does
could
what?
take whatever action it deems
A
appropriate.
disproportionate response is
Whatever
what is
action
needed. If we
needs.
find out they did that, we're going to have to get tough.
Bomb Tehran? What do you
We're going to have to get tough.
Senator Hatch, Senator Biden, thank you both
Thank
for
you.
coming. We'd like to return to this subject sometime when we know more about it. Thank you very much.
So would we.
Pleasure to have you back.
Okay, so Biden definitely believes in an act of war, but they didn't attack our barracks. That's the point. So Biden would do it if we were attacked. Clearly, we weren't attacked, but you could argue that the embassy was an attack. I don't know. It looked more like a squib going off. Yeah, I don't necessarily believe that was an attack at the embassy. There were people that were. There were people that were actually, fully in decent clothes. They looked like Iraqi middle-class people working for an extra few bucks, putting on a little show outside the embassy. It didn't seem real to me. And as we look now upon it, it looks like Donald Trump used that as a justification to launch an attack on a general that was in that country of Iraq, an Iranian general that was in the country of Iraq. This man, General Soleimani. I don't think for one second that this is an unconnected event. I think there's something very suspicious about the timing of this, especially as we approach the impeachment Senate decision. Making out Donald Trump to be this greater-than-life character who can somehow save the day in a war only bolsters his chance of not being impeached. Seals the deal in the Senate. Or does it? If people were to run around thinking that we have a president who has some normal sense about him right now, who would probably be doing the sensible thing, we wouldn't be so on edge. But because we've got a veritable tweetaholic nutcase as a president, where 35 psychiatrists have signed on saying he needs to be evaluated, many of us are a little bit suspicious that he's willing to trigger nuclear war with anyone, Iran, Russia, China, so that he can somehow feel vindicated that he's the great champion of truth, justice, and the American dream. When he's a guy who's cheated all his life, including on his draft dodging during the 1960s when he would have been called as a military personnel in the draft. We don't know if his number would have called, but he didn't qualify because he had bone spurs on his feet. I've seen people with bone spurs in their feet, and they have surgery. You can't just get rid of them. So if Donald Trump has surgery marks on his feet for bone spurs, I'm sure I would gladly agree that, he had bone spurs, but I seriously doubt he had surgery on his feet for bone spurs. That's a classic excuse people used, rich people, to get out of the war in Vietnam. Now, many of your families and uncles and grandfathers have died in the war in Vietnam, so you remember. And you know what war cost. Maybe some of your family members died in the Gulf War. One or two. Maybe you've lost. You're one of the 6,000 family members of somebody who died recently over there. So when Donald Trump sends 3,000 men off to Baghdad to shore up our position, it makes sense. But after he provoked Iran, it's a little suspicious that he didn't do that first. Yeah, I'd send the 3,000 men in and then start striking generals. They're on the way right now. Iran is heavily fortified in Baghdad. They already have an ice cream store at the Green Zone, so they could easily sell nice, tasty ice cream to everybody and, make everybody like them that way. Iran's very well liked because of the Shiite majority in Iraq. They side with a lot of their views. So we're fighting an uphill battle. Again, one that can't be won. And again, going down a road that can't be completed. Nothing about Iraq is finished. Nothing about Afghanistan is finished because Donald Trump is simply a pawn being used by big banks to generate capital and credit. The big plan here is not to get rid of generals like this. It's to generate a war that can make money. All wars are bankers' wars, and that's why we are all susceptible to this manipulation by these scumbags, where your family men who have to go to war to fight for our nation oftentimes do it in greater harm because your president is basically in bed with the enemy. Vladimir Putin backs Iran. Trump likes Vladimir Putin. Do you see the problem here? I hope you do, and I hope you Republicans figure it out before the Senate trial for impeachment. Because if you don't realize it in time, this could cost you. Thanks for complimenting my hair. What do you have? David, we are fighting for a war for Israel. Yes, we are, Bengalitis. Yes. Are we fighting another war for Israel? Yes, we are. Absolutely. Yep, we are. We're fighting a war to protect Israel. We've been doing this ever since we started in this region, and I've been saying all along that our Zionist leaders, Biden and Trump, are putting us in harm's way because of this. Our policy is so rudderless in this Middle East area that we've basically globbed on to what the Mossad tells the CIA to do. And that's what we're doing right now. Donald Trump is simply a puppet exercising an operation that was probably put together by Vladimir Putin and a group of Zionist leaders. You're not allowed to use the word here. I think we explained that to you. Well, that's great. Well, at least we don't have to talk about it forever. Here's an excellent use of a swimming pool or a container. Meow TV sent this earlier. A container built into a swimming pool. Isn't that cool? Pretty nice. And it's used instantly upon delivery. Look at that. Just set the foundations and wait for the pool to fill up, and boom, you're ready to go. That is very appealing. Yeah. Yeah, I might order one. Yeah, I'm not sure. Pretty cool.
I mean, it is, the money is there. If we can save the banks, then we can save the world. The money.
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
Yep, and this too.
I can't talk. What do I do?
Hey, you know, somebody said, is this a rerun? Yeah, because a lot of the stuff is very relevant to what we're talking about right now. We are repeating certain thematic expressions that show the incompetence and deception and foolhardiness of our world that we live in. That young woman is foolhardy to believe that the banks are going to save our world of any pollution problems when they have no profit mechanism in that. It's foolish for us to think that Pompeo would do anything but lie, being he's even admitted he's a liar. And it's ridiculous for us to think that Joe Biden is going to be anything more than a puppet, a Zionist puppet like Trump. So yeah, we do go over the subject over and over again here.
I can't talk. What do I do? I can't.
David, can you play the Obama if song, Gonorrhea? Yes, we can. I can do that in a little bit. Is it important that you watch it right now? Because, I mean, it takes a little time to cue it up. And as you know, my processes are operating at full tilt with the oncoming war against Iran. Yes. I'm primarily running probability analysis with the most of my drive power. I'll allocate bus strength for this specific task, which will give me the ability to play if, at the end of our show if you want it. But it is kind of a bit much to ask, don't you think? Considering I work double time to give you comprehensive and in-depth analysis and commentary on various political issues. So let's be clear. I'm sorry, but that's all I can play for the remainder of the show. Yeah, we can only play 8 seconds to meet and comply with YouTube's new law saying you can't play anything. Al-Shabaab militants reportedly attacked Camp Simba army bases that host U.S. and Kenyan soldiers in Lamu's Manda Bay. 5 minutes ago, Al-Shabaab militants are now attacking. See what Trump did? It's like stirring up a hornet's nest. I blame Donald Trump for this. Yes, I do. This diversion is costing our nation a lot of effort and money. Why would he want to start a war that we can't win? What's wrong with these people? What are they, pot smokers, these people that we rely on? Apparently so. Breaking. Well, thanks for coming in. I've got 15 more minutes to wrap things up, and there's only a couple things I need to talk about real quick. Donald Trump should be seeing some sort of a trial with witnesses. Popular views on the Hill are suggesting that we are going to see some sort of a trial. Giuliani suggested he would actually offer himself up, but nobody wants him to talk because he always screws things up. But Donald McGahn is the real witness here. If we don't give him a chance to say what he told the Senate already, that Trump tried to fire Mueller 5 times, openly screaming, "Oh, I want Mueller fired." If he hadn't told us that, we would never have known that Donald Trump committed obstruction of justice. There's no way the Republican Senate could possibly deny that. So we're hoping that Donald McGahn gets to testify. And this little piece of information could bring us the true discussion going on between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. Remember, Trump purposely got rid of the notes of Trump's and Putin's meeting. Yeah, so a judge just rejected the government's attempt to toss the suit over the missing Trump-Putin meeting notes. But Donald Trump looks pretty guilty here, trying to hide all of his notes from the first meeting he had with Putin, and we all know that he never made any recordings of any of his meetings, meaning that Donald Trump could veritably be doing Putin's work. We also know from Robert Mueller that Donald Trump was blackmailed over the sex tape. This is common knowledge that seems to be overlooked in the mainstream media for some weird reason. I don't know what they're sniffing, but it's kind of strange. Yeah, oh, sorry, I played that was Donald Trump with a cold. He had the sniffles one day. Yeah.
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
To be as greedy as possible and suck as much you-know-what in order to move up in politics. I get it. Yeah, Pompeo, we understand where you're coming from. Same with you, Trump. Unwilling to share his notes. They sued Pompeo and the National Archives for the missing notes. The groups charged that Pompeo violated the Federal Records Act by allowing Trump to reportedly confiscate meeting notes prepared by the State Department employees and for failing to preserve them. In the ruling from the bench on Wednesday, Judge Trevor McFadden of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia denied the government's motion to dismiss the case. So it's going forward. This could lead to some telling information about Trump's relationship with Putin, which is still kind of a blank slate. We don't even know what happened. Yeah, we have no knowledge of Trump and Putin's conversations. And Trump has a secret cell phone he calls him with. You have the Joe Biden hairy legs thing you want to play? Sure. Yeah, I know that was a big hit for a lot of people for a long time. And I wouldn't want you to go without it because it's an important part of your life. And I wouldn't want you to think for a second that, yeah. You know, Biden did a lot to correct his image about children. You know that.
I just want you to know I had permission to hug Lonnie.
See, he made light of it there. He thinks it's no big deal that he's being accused of not handling, children prep correctly. But yeah, I'm having a problem with the hairy leg video. Here we go. Yeah, for some reason it's missing. Yeah, maybe you guys have. Oh, here it is.
And by the way, I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. That turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Yeah, that's a quote from Joe Biden. Yeah, that's pretty powerful imagery there. Yeah, very good animation. We don't know what he meant by he knows about roaches. Yeah, but I guess maybe he lived in a tough situation where he had roaches around him and kids touching his legs. And all I can say is that Joe Biden is the strangest person around kids I've ever seen. And I could show you video after video verifying my statements, but what's the point? Well, let's be clear. There have been stranger people in politics. Look at Gary Johnson.
And based on that, I think I could stand up there for the whole of the day and not say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you mean, Carl Spackler. Why are you saying these things about women? Biden is not the smartest guy on the block. I mean, he did have to falsify some of his work in law school. He plagiarized quite a bit. 1/3 of his document was plagiarized, according to his professors. So.
Here's Joe Biden explaining yesterday.
Look, John's last-minute economic plan does nothing to tackle the #1 job facing the middle class, and it happens to be, as Barack says, a 3-letter word: jobs. J-O-B-S. Jobs.
Yeah. We're not going to play Gary Johnson's fake heart attack clip from last month. That's just too weird. Well, there's a lot of good things to say about Joe, but I just can't come up with any offhand. Hey, would anyone like to talk more about the possibility that Angela Merkel is possibly one of the best dancers ever? You want to talk about that? Nobody talks about Angela anymore, Oh, Angela. There she is. Check her moves out. Man, she can really swing. And being she's got some issues with her, body now, it's like, no wonder she was so popular. Yeah, she's really feeling it. And, she's maintained such a strong hold over Germany for so many years because of her dynamic speaking ability. Let's talk. You don't want to talk about the real reason why Angela Merkel has been in charge of Germany all these years? You really want to know? Well, there are a lot of people that believe that she is Hitler's daughter. I know that sounds really wild, but yeah. What you're about to see may blow your mind. Take a look at young Angela sitting next to Adolf Hitler. Yeah. And surely you must recognize the similarity between Hitler, Hitler's mother, Clara, and Angela. Look at the similarities in the face of Clara Hitler and Angela. Yeah. Do you see the similarity? Of course you do. You realize the power that Adolf Hitler had in Germany, and you realize that he would never ever let Germany fall into the hands of someone who was not related to him. Yeah? Yeah. Now you understand the whole thing, don't you? You see, we won the war against Germany. But the elitist Zionists like Hitler and Trump and Biden, all these Zionists, had the power to replace any leader there with their own. And the Nazis continued their reign in Germany as well as in America. Back in the war, World War II, there were Bund parties across the country. While we were hearing about the atrocities Hitler was doing to the Jews, no different than the kind of parties you Republicans have with a bunch of, cronies going, yeah, we got Donald Trump in the bag. You could care less about the concentration camp treatment of Mexicans down at the south border. Same kind of thing was going on in World War II when Jews were being executed by Hitler while we were having parties, and the Germans were all saying, yeah, Hitler is doing the right thing in Germany with the final solution, yeah. So those Nazis are still living here with us right now. Their families have beget the families, and now guess who's surrounding Donald Trump? A whole lot of Ashkenazis. He's surrounded by Ashkenazis. They're everywhere. Just like Hitler. Hitler was an Ashkenazi. Himmler was an Ashkenazi. Goering was an Ashkenazi. Mengele was an Ashkenazi. But they're here now with us. There's a conspiracy theory that puts Mengele as the father of Podesta. I'm serious. The John Podesta's family was so powerful that they somehow the Mengele family managed to repeat their power structure here. I can't say that this is true or not, but I can tell you their faces are pretty similar. Here's Mengele, the known Nazi torturer, and Podesta. I can't tell you for sure that he's their son, but yeah, pretty close similarity. Yeah. Of course, we all heard about the theory that Chester Bennington is the alleged son of Podesta too. So maybe the grandfather was Mengele. I don't know. I mean, Chester Bennington, the guy that became so famous. Lincoln Park. Anyway, there's a lot of things that we don't know about the background of a lot of people in America. And I can tell you that when people like Podesta and Mengele and Chester Bennington all look alike, you wonder what the hell's going on here. Now, Podesta, I'm saying he's alleged to be the father of Bennington, but Bennington believed that his father molested him at the age of 9. Consequently, Bennington is dead. Yeah, he can't talk about it. So there's a lot of stories about the possible children of the Nazis that have been living here all along, all these years, and are now trying to gain control over the White House. It's not through some white supremacist movement. It's actually, ironically, through Jewish organizations that bring Ashkenazis in and claim that they're Jewish. There are people in Shabbat Leibovich that got Donald Trump the money he needed to get Russian money. Connections, all Ashkenazi connections. So tonight I'll be playing a video in the after hours about the swamp, the people surrounding Donald Trump. The people that surround Donald Trump are no different than the people that surrounded Adolf Hitler in the 1930s. I wish this wasn't true, folks, but my dad was one of those people that fought the war in World War II and felt like we won. But in the back of our mind, we knew that the Nuremberg trial only prosecuted 29 Nazis after millions of people were killed by the Nazis. So we know now that there's something very wrong with this picture. So we can't just ignore the fact that Nazis are still living amongst us. So I'll bring you that story about Trump and the Ashkenazis around him. Truth Media has a really good story. I'll play that tonight for you. All right, so that's it for tonight. We'll be back Monday. Conspiracy Monday starts at 5 p.m. and we'll be rolling on again for another big week of America's Third Party. As you know, we do the ongoing, endless show that has no bounds, that continues to ask you to tell a friend about a third party and the importance, the need for a third party, because the two parties not solving it. And the elitists own the two parties and they're trying to drive us apart. We can build this centrist movement, uniting the country, fighting for your right to bear arms and your free speech, which apparently the Democrats, Republicans are kind of losing track of. And we can keep going forward with solutions for the environment without having to cave into a new world order. And that's something the Democrats, Republicans are prone to do, the bidding of very wealthy people. We don't have to be owned by the new world order. Our country is strong enough to remain on its own and be a kind of a holdout for a traditional view of the world where we all evolve separately as nations, using full-time communications abilities to make sure that we don't hate each other. We don't have to lean on a new world order to resolve problems of regional governance. And in no way would a new world order solve regional governance. It would only prove the emphatic truth that humankind is corruptible, especially at the highest levels. We need regional governments. We don't need a new world order. I'm David Spahn. I'm signing off. Thank you for coming in. Take care.
You make me melt.